Hello and welcome to the second Great Debate podcast. I'm VoidBurger and with me is Bob, the other half of the Great Debate.
Hello.
He's also the main editor so far in all the PT videos because I'm too scared to edit that footage.
Hey, I'm scared too, but you can push through.
You're braver than I. So, if you guys were wondering if we have talked about Kojima leaving the Silent Hills project, we've already talked about it on another podcast, so you should watch the Whispers in the Static podcast, which should be coming up on your screen right now. Boop! Go click that, and you can listen to that, and about how sad we are about that happening.
Very, very sad.
Also, since recording this podcast, Silent Hills got friggin' canceled. So if you want to hear us complain and moan and whine about that, there's another podcast for you to click, and it's this one right here. Boop! Another Whispers in the Static podcast. So check that one out if you want to hear a bunch of nerds cry. Because that probably happened. But this podcast is not about that. It's about analyzing and discussing the symbolism and junk of PT. Right?
Yep. There's a lot of junk to analyze and go through.
I don't know why I'm talking as much as you're the one that should be talking more. You're the person that figured out so many crazy craps about this thing so far.
Kind of. I only found a few things. And that's one of the things that I wanted to clarify kind of at the top of this. Look
at this humble jerk over here.
Well, I mean, I kind of talked in one of the first Great Debate video. It was basically me, and a lot of people criticized me for doing this, but going off on a tangent, or someone called it a wild goose chase. I don't know if that's exactly what that means, but it's basically I kind of went crazy on the
out on limbs, maybe.
various limbs, and you have to understand that the reason I did that is because my method worked 100% of the time. Jarth works. Saying Jarth works, like, it's the most consistent method that I've found. But
and to be clear, he tried all the other J names, basically, right?
The first name that I tried was J, simply because that's the name that you're given in the quote in the error screen. But I also tried the other name that was mentioned, which was, what was it?
Jack?
Jack, yeah. I tried Jack multiple times. And the thing about all of them was I found that some of them worked in specific instances, but when trying some of the names, they just weren't consistent. They just didn't trigger the laugh as often. And I was going through, because you can go through the loop 51 times before Lisa jumps you and you have to start all over. But even then, you can keep going through. So I was just going through doors, doing the 10 steps, saying the name, seeing if it worked. And I could do this fairly consistently. And I was doing this for like hours on end. But the one that worked 100% of the time for me was Jarth. And that was the one that I actually had logic attached to based on 204.863. But since the PlayStation 4 has been updated with new voice controls and new voice commands, and the voice recognition seems to have been updated, I went back and tried a lot of the names like Jay and Jack, and both I have confirmed work. Not as consistently as Jarth, but they do work. So I just wanted to, and that's one of the things that we kind of passed over in the last TGD episode, number 4, the story of PT. It's it's back. It's in the air. We don't know exactly what J stands for. There are a lot of names. I think I've confirmed 6 at this point that work. Just any name with a J name.
But Jarth is the only one that you can work backwards into the 204.863 puzzle, yes, and have that make sense. The other ones can't be worked backward into that, which is not, it's not the scientific method. We fully admit that. But it is somewhat uncanny that it can be wiggled into this position. And it's like, maybe that means something? Mm-hmm. Maybe? I mean, we're not saying it's 100% gospel truth here or anything. That this is definitely the only name that it is canonically and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's just like, hey, this works. It's consistent. I
had a theory. I tested it, and it worked. I went, and I remember turning to my girlfriend and just being like, it works. It works. Like 100% of the time, it worked every time. Mm-hmm. So I had a few other people test it, and bam, it worked. So
yeah, I tried it. at a friend's house because they have a PS4 and I don't, and yeah, it worked. And a lot of people have commented that it works generally, unless they don't know how to pronounce it right, or I don't know what they're doing wrong if it's not working because, geez, it works. People have criticized your Cipher, saying that what's the name of the people that made 7720S? What's the company?
Oh,
the fake company name. 77.
It was tree. So it was like trees, 8870S, something like that.
Yeah. Whatever that was, people have criticized that your Cipher, because that was where the Cipher was based from, was the title screen. And other people have said, like, oh, that means Shizuoka, Japan, because that's the area of Shizuoka, Japan, and it translates to the Quiet Hills.
Mm-hmm. And by the way...
We know. Yeah. Stop commenting about it. We know.
And FYI...
We've known it for months.
It's 7780, and the way to get the trees from that is flipping it around.
Yeah.
Which you do with 204.863 as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people... That was actually pretty ubiquitous at the time when we were trying to figure out what the name was, what 204.863 meant. I remember reading a few threads on Silent Hill subreddit, and just they were all about Shizuoka and all that stuff. And it's actually one of the interesting things about the Jarth theory too, because Shizuoka was known as being a primary exporter of trees, of wood, specifically a very specific type of wood that came from Shizuoka. So,
and also, what was it, like 204.863 is also like a genome or something that only is found in this one tree.
Yep,
that's a tree thing too. Lots of the photos in the hallways are trees.
Yep, it wasn't an idea born out of ignorance.
Yeah, it's not completely out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know, like it's not like you just decided like, what if it's this? And it's like there were other things hinting like, what if you use trees? What if that's what that meant?
And then you made the observation that a lot of the pictures in the foyer of PT's hallway have trees in them and nature shots and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, right. I forgot that was my my addition to that whole thing. I'm also the person that discovered that it's spiraling downward. Mm-hmm. It seems like nobody really noticed that except me. Like that's really weird. I didn't know I was the only person that kind of noticed that you're going down a spiral pattern.
Yeah, I think people maybe understood it, but it wasn't like it was so subtle that
it is really subtle. Like the hallways are like smacked right on top of each other practically. It's a really tight coil, like DNA, like squished in together like that. Anyway, speaking of symbolism, we're supposed to be talking about the symbolism.
We kind of are, a little bit. But you want to talk about symbolism? Okay. What do we talk about first?
Well, people also wanted us to talk about the PT concept video and what we thought of that and what symbolism is up in there. I mean, it is just a concept video, kind of like a tech demo, like a pitch, an elevator pitch, being like, hey, we should make this horror game. That would be cool. Mm-hmm. Allow us to do that. So I don't know how much relevant thematic symbolism can be picked out of that, but it's still awesome to think about and awesome to view in that way, critically. So let's talk about the concept video.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we noticed and we posted on our Facebook for the TheGrateDebate is that we should probably mention that Grate is Grate, and that's a joke.
It's a pun. It's a dumb pun.
Like, some people don't get that, and in the other world in Silent Hill, there's like blood and rust and grates. So
there's grates everywhere.
So we're debating about Silent Hill stuff, and
yeah, it's not a very good joke, but we could not think of a better name. Nope. So here we are.
Hey,
confusing people.
Professionally.
Whoever has the Gmail address of the TheGrateDebate spelled correctly, I want to apologize to them. Because they're probably getting a lot of weird emails being like, hey, what about the cockroaches? Is that Norman Reedus?
Is that Norman Reedus? It looks like Norman Reedus.
Yeah, that's the first YouTube question that I had on the YouTube questions list. The top question was, is it just me or is that Norman Reedus?
No, I think...
The answer is no, it's not just you. That is Norman Reedus. He's in the game.
Yeah, they say... is that Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead? So they don't actually know the actor who plays that guy, so they're thrown for a loop.
He's a very unique-looking gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Very.
So yeah, it is Norman Reedus. He's in the game, and everybody else has made the observation that it looks like the guy from The Walking Dead, because it is the guy from The Walking Dead.
But, so we were talking about the concept video analysis. Basically, one of the interesting things that we noticed about, that we talked about when we first saw it on Facebook was that it was highlighted in one of the videos that Guillermo del Toro, one of the first videos that he made after it was revealed that PT was Silent Hills, and Guillermo del Toro would be working with Kojima on it. And sadly, no, possibly not the case. But one of the interesting things during his talk was that he said that Kojima showed him a early concept video, an early prototype for the game. And that is likely the concept video that we saw. The one with the kid's head and all those millipedes, centipedes? I don't know. I ain't a bugologist. But it's interesting to note that Guillermo del Toro was brought in after the concept video. So if you're looking for a game that was completed purely by Kojima and his team, the concept video is a pretty good example of that. If what Guillermo del Toro said is true,
or what the implication was, at least.
So PT in its current form is indicative of not just what Kojima would produce for a horror game, but what Guillermo del Toro and Kojima. My brain was trying to mesh them into one word: Guillermo del Kojima, and. It really, looking at the differences between the types of horror in the concept video and the more subtle horror that was going on in PT, it's really interesting to note the differences between those. I think a lot of what Kojima and his team were going for, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his team had a little bit more to do with the concept video than Kojima personally. I think Kojima came up with...
I'm not entirely sure.
I think they had...
And I don't think anyone is entirely sure of how much influence Kojima has on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, how do we know that how much of any Kojima game is actually Kojima himself? Because he's got a huge team of people.
Yeah.
And how many of those people have been with him for years and just, know what people like and what they expect from a Kojima branded game and know how to deliver on that. And maybe that's not necessarily Kojima's doing and it's his team. I don't know. I just wish there was a tally at the end that was 70% of this was Kojima, 30% was Del Toro or something.
Yeah, that would
be impossible.
That would make me feel better or worse because of the whole Kojima leaving Konami news. Although we don't know for certain if Kojima's not going to be working with Del Toro in some capacity. Mm-hmm. So I
don't know. I would hope so, though.
I think everyone would hope so.
They might hire him back on as a contractor, maybe. But I don't know.
Kind of doubtful.
I don't expect Konami to make good decisions. They've just proven again and again that they are incapable of making good decisions sometimes.
Especially considering they aren't posting any news about this.
No, they're being dicks about it.
One of the things that was really interesting that I don't know if we talked about on Whispers in the Static with Whitney and CJ and everyone. When Kojima left, the top news on Twitter, one of the trending hashtags was not Metal Gear Solid. I mean, it was, but it wasn't the first one. The first one was Silent Hills.
Silent Hills.
Everyone was so confused. But then Konami comes out with oh no, don't worry, Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5 is fine. Don't worry about that.
Oh, don't worry about Metal Gear. Meanwhile, everyone's pooping their pants about Silent Hills.
Yeah, what the hell? And nothing. Still nothing.
Konami hasn't given a rat's ass about Silent Hill for over 10 years now, probably. If I had to guess. So I wouldn't be surprised if they let Kojima do this and they were convinced by Kojima to do this because Kojima was their golden child and they just finally got fed up with their golden child. They were just fine, screw the whole thing. We don't really want to do Silent Hill anyway. Because they clearly don't. Mm. The way they've treated the franchise for the past 10, 15, whatever years. I don't even know anymore. Forever. It's they don't care. They don't want people to have this franchise. They don't know what to do with it. They're just dopes, man. But anyway, that is not concept video analysis, to get back on topic. What is in the PT concept video? There's bugs coming out of decapitated heads, which happen to be reused assets from Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear.
Yeah, there's not really much you can take from it, other than it seems like there was an emphasis on bugs. Like, they wanted bugs.
Lots of bugs.
Of some sort to be in PT.
Which is something that Guillermo does in his movies. Like, I remember Pan's Labyrinth had a bunch of bugs in it.
Yep.
He likes bugs.
Maybe they knew that they were going to approach him before actually showing him the concept video.
Or he was involved with the concept video and you just misunderstood what he said or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It's...
Maybe there was a different concept video that he was shown before he got involved and polished up this concept video based on that concept video. Maybe that was an internal secret concept video that hasn't been released because it was, like, shoddy.
I don't know.
And not worth releasing because it was crappy.
All I know is that you can actually listen to him. If you want to look for it, it's the TGS 2014 Guillermo del Toro interview about PT. Look it up. He says that, I believe it's 1 minute and 11 seconds, I think.
That's so specific.
Yeah, I just remember it being funny because it was like 111. It's like, my brain is...
That is memorable.
Well suited to remember that. I could look it up, actually.
Mm. So lots of bugs. I thought it was somewhat inspired by Junji Ito, who is my favorite manga artist. And he specializes in horror manga. And he also likes bugs. He does bug stuff a lot of the time, too.
Well, bugs are creepy.
Bugs are spooky.
I don't know.
Decay, rot, bugs,
Yeah. It is 1 minute and 11 seconds.
And then something that it has in common with PT is that PT has cockroaches in it. The concept video has all these centipedes and stuff in it. So more bugs. Mm. Bugs are popular.
Oh, and
has there been a bug in every Silent Hill game now that I think of it?
Yeah. Yeah, cockroaches.
Was there any in Silent Hill 3?
There had to have been.
Another slugs in 4.
Oh, the first boss is a big old...
It's a worm.
Yeah, that's a bug.
I guess that counts. Sort of.
And FYI, it's not 1 minute 11 seconds. The time code is 1 minute 11 seconds. The actual time in the video is 1 minute 51 seconds. So YouTube will display it as 111 at the end of that.
I see.
Anyway, fun. I know you guys tuned into the podcast to hear that. Anyway, just real quick. I know we've spent a lot of time on the concept video. But we kind of just want to suss this out, and we wanted to clear up some thoughts about it. So in the concept video, you can clearly see that there is a teacher, Miss Angela's class, and that is a character from Silent Hill 2, Angela Orozco. So that makes it likely, in my mind, that Lisa in PT probably, or they at least drew inspiration from Silent Hill 1 in the name Lisa. Because both are used from previous Silent Hill games, it kind of makes it more likely that that's the case.
It's an homage, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, last thing that we're going to talk about from the concept video, is that you can hear at the end of the concept video that someone in the background says 204863. Now, I don't know if the team planned on this elaborate puzzle to be based around this code. It seems like it wasn't if it was included in the concept video. If they did have something buried, then that's cool. But to me, the concept video having 204863 in it means that there's less of a tie to the plot elements and the game proper for PT. And it's kind of more likely in my mind that it's referencing Kojima's birthday, because out of context, 204863 in that concept video means nothing. Like, I'm not getting where that's coming from, at least in PT.
I mean, it wouldn't have even been a foreshadowing because it didn't come out before PT came out. It would have worked if it was a trailer for a trailer for a teaser.
Yeah,
but we didn't get to see this until after PT had come out, so it wouldn't have functioned like a hype up. What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
For PT itself. So yeah, who knows? Very mysterious.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we don't know. That's kind of, it's all speculation. So take it with a grain of salt. Or
big salt lick, like with deer lick.
Go kill a lot of slugs with that salt. All right, on to PT analysis proper and symbolism and all that good stuff.
PT symbolism in general.
Mm-hmm. So did you have anything you wanted to talk about, VoidBurger, in regards to symbolism and all that good stuff?
I know we got a nice list here. Let's just go down the list.
All right,
and then we'll go to the next list. We have like 4 lists of different things.
You should see our docs, and then the docs that were before the docs, and then the docs that were before those docs.
We have written millions of words about Silent Hill. Please help us.
It's a problem at this point.
So you wanted to talk about eyeballs, and I know that Kojima has a love for eyeballs and losing them, for example. Because I know that Big Boss and Solid Snake, they all don't have eyeballs or something like that.
Right. So you have...
Some of the characters don't have eyeballs.
Yeah, I think it might represent a shift in perspective, especially when you have characters like Big Boss, who's done some controversial stuff in the games. Some may consider him, especially in the beginning of the series in the Metal Gear games, he was more of an antagonist. That was kind of his role. He was, kind of the bad guy.
It was a simpler time in the late 80s. It's just like, this is a bad guy because he looks like Sean Connery and he has an eye patch. So of course he's the bad guy. He has an eye patch.
So he has that eye patch on his right eye. In Metal Gear Solid 3, you can see how this happens. And he gets his right eye sort of messed up by the gun muzzle flash and all that good stuff. Play the game. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Play Snake Eater.
And then you have Metal Gear Solid 4, where you have the main character, Old Snake. He has a sort of digital eye patch that lets him do a lot of really cool stuff in the game. But he's more of a just character. He's more of a, dare I say, quote-unquote, good character. He's kind of a good protagonist. So, but that is on his left eye. So it's interesting when you consider Kojima's history of covering up eyeballs, that you have Lisa in PT, who has her right eye gouged out, and you this is one of the requirements to pass through one of the loops in PT. You have to gouge out that right eye, and then later you see that Lisa is missing her right eye. So it's interesting to sort of draw a parallel between what Kojima may consider his protagonists and antagonists to be, especially when the antagonists in his Metal Gear games seem to be more have their right eyes covered and are more evil, sort of more controversial. And then you have in PT, you have an antagonist with her right eye missing.
Well, I think it could also be like the eye patch thing. Well, I think that both of those characters, Old Snake and Big Boss, they're literally clones of each other, first of all. And they were both pawns of the government, and Big Boss decided I'm not a pawn anymore, basically. Yeah. And that was like why he looked like an antagonist to you playing regular Snake, fighting this guy for your government. So I think it might just be it's the same character genetically. So far as I know, Metal Gear lore is confusing, but I think it might be a commentary on their similarities more than anything. I don't know.
Yeah, this isn't a Metal Gear symbolism podcast.
No, it isn't.
And we must preface this with we're not Metal Gear nerds. We're Silent Hill nerds first.
We probably got all that shit wrong, what we just said.
Maybe, but that's the fun part of doing symbolism. You go out on limbs. You reach for stuff that may or may not be there simply because it's cool to think. I have a brain. Mm-hmm. I like using it. Whoops.
Whoops. Go out on a limbolism.
So another thing to point out.
So historically, there's a stigma associated with left in general. Left being evil, right being good.
Left-handed people.
The word sinister comes from the word left. Mm-hmm. So that could be another parallel.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's something in the Bible about the left being bad. But anyway, there is also definitely a quote in the Bible, Matthew 5:29, that says, "And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee." So it may all come from there. A lot of the symbolism that he's picking up on, he being Kojima, may be coming straight from the Bible.
Or it was a 50-50 shot. Could have been the left eye, and he just decided to do the right eye. We don't know.
And I mean, Kojima likes duality too, so it's one of those things where I just,
Oh yeah, like shitloads of duality. I mean, look at all the clones in Metal Gear.
Oh yeah.
There's so many clones.
And then and you can even see the duality in PT. You have two brains in the menu that you can look at when you pause, which is how you find one of the puzzle pieces, one of the picture pieces, I should say. It is a puzzle. That's not technically wrong. Anyway, there are also two coats in the foyer at the beginning of PT, symbolizing not just the duality that we brought up, but also. It's really cool to come across those and be like, oh shit, is someone here? Hanging up your coat, someone owns these. Yeah. Oh shit, there's someone else here, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's fun.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another thing that we wanted to talk about real quick is this. I don't think this is necessarily symbolism, but it's interesting, and I know a few people were asking about this. But in the radio message at the beginning of PT, the person on the radio voice is saying 911, but he said it's like 911.
Like neighbors called 911.
Exactly.
Or something. And I heard a rumor. The rumor was people used to tell people call 911 in case of emergencies, but children couldn't find the number 11 on the phone, so they changed it to be 911. And, we thought, if that's true, we could, use that. Maybe that's a hint about when this all happened. Was it, the 60s when they changed that or something? But I looked all around the internet. I only found one source saying anything like that. Historyofnine11.com or something. I asked all the elders I know, have you ever heard of it being called 911 instead of 911? And they were like, no, it has always been 911. I have no idea what you're talking about. I asked my parents, my grandparents, other people's grandparents. They have no idea about 911. So I genuinely have no idea why it is 911 in this game. And that's really weird. Why'd they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also the chance that it's just whoever was reading it, that's the way that they talk. Because there is that one time when the radio says 204-863. And a lot of people have taken that to mean that the O should be taken out because O isn't a number, 0 is. So if they said 0, but then when you see all of the numbers spelled out, and when you look at the subtitles for when that voice says 204-863, the subtitle says 204-863. It's not an O. Mm-hmm. So, some of this stuff is just, it could be not purposeful.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, why does the fetus have a Canadian accent? I don't know.
What did he say that you were like, whoa?
Sorrows. Yeah, he pronounced it sorrows. Yeah. You drowned your sorrows in booze. And that's kind of like I don't know, that's like a really Canadian sounding thing it's sorrows.
Sorry.
Sorry about your sorrows.
Hey, maybe it's just, maybe hell is in Canada, so.
Silent Hill is way more north than we thought it was.
Way.
I don't know. I wanted to talk about, this is one of my things that I was thinking about with PT, connections to The Ring and influences from Ringu, which is a great book. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. I think it's by Koji Suzuki. Really good book. The sequel's really good. The third one goes off the rails. Don't read the third one. Too nuts. But if you don't know, the plot of The Ring is that this videotape is cursed, and you have to duplicate the videotape. And it's cursed in the book, at least. I don't think they talk about this in the movie, but then again, I saw the movie when I was 12.
Wow.
And never saw it again, because it scared the pants off me.
Yeah, holy crap. 12?
Terrifying. I remember being fairly young, at least.
Oh, man.
Because, when did that come out? 2000? 2001?
Are you talking about the American version or?
The American Ring.
Yeah, that came out 2002.
2002. So, yeah, I was 13, maybe. Anyway. So if you don't know the plot of The Ring, basically this videotape is haunted by this pissed off hermaphrodite ghost, which is in the book. That is actually what's going on there.
Really?
Yeah. It's a really interesting book.
Huh.
Transphobic, though, now that I think about it. But because she gets murdered because she had a relationship with a guy and he found out that she had testicles underneath her vagina, basically, and he threw her in a well until she died. And that's why she haunted the tapes. So I was like, oh, wow. So trigger warning on that. So she gets thrown in a well, curses these videotapes to get spread, and spread her curse over, because she's just that pissed off. She wants to curse, the whole damn world, basically. And the only people that are saved by the curse is people who spread the curse. And the curse is not just, spooky ghost curse. It is literally a viral infection, and people are getting infected by this, and it's altering their DNA and killing them.
Huh.
Or if you're a woman and you read the book or watch the videotape or anything like that, you become impregnated with Sadako, and you die and give birth to a new ghost Sadako woman or something.
Jesus.
As I said, it gets more progressively off the rails the more books in the series you read. It gets a little wacky.
Wait, real quick, was it reading was the virus spread through a book in the book?
No,
that
but
would have been
like
cool.
the last chapter, it's kind of like if you ever read the BFG, which is a brilliant book by Roald Dahl.
No.
It turns out that the book was written by the BFG. You just read the autobiography of the Big Friendly Giant.
Oh.
And it does a BFG at the end where it's like, and all along you've been reading about this thing, and since you have innate knowledge of this curse, you're now, by proxy, if you're ovulating, you're cursed.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's always fun to mess with people like that.
I remember being like freshman year of high school reading that in art class, and I was like, oh god, I gotta stop reading this now.
Oh no.
But, so yeah, it's a really good read, action-packed, etc. But the idea of something cursed being viral, like that, like this was before, I think it was written before the internet got like super big, and the word viral meant an internet viral sensation thing. So the book was about this media, this ghost using the media to procreate basically through this virus. There's a parallel between that and what's going on with PT, because it was designed to be viral, and the whole, like, it's like an evolution. Like, you go from cursed places, like haunted houses or something, and then it evolves into, like, oh, this book is cursed. Then like, as media evolves, the idea of cursing something evolves with the media. So it goes to cursed broadcasts, cursed videotapes, cursed video games now, because PT is like a cursed video game, and it became interlinked with, like, cursed social media, kind of, because it was through all these people playing it at once in different languages and figuring it out together and streaming it, all this interactivity with this cursed item, that the curse was figured out and the curse was solved. And you got to see the trailer for Silent Hills at the end.
Which is funny, because the way that the first person, Soapy Warpig, I believe, she solved it by simply, she didn't figure out the puzzle. There was nothing, she didn't pay attention to any of that. She just managed to get it randomly.
Got lucky.
Which is why, and which is why after, I'm sure that's why Kojima was surprised, because he was expecting people to take a long time to figure it out. But voice recognition on the PlayStation 4 was wonky. It still is. And, she probably had her mic on, and she was doing all sorts of stuff. And that's another thing we'll talk about when the questions come up, the non-audio way to solve the puzzle. But, it's really interesting to think about it in terms of, like, a viral, like, it was built to be viral, built from the ground up. And that's really interesting to consider when you have the main story of PT seems to be a lesson against obsession. And you're having all these people, in order to solve the damn game, they have to become obsessed with it to a certain degree. I know I did.
But that's what's creepy about it. It's doing the based on real life events thing by making you as obsessed with this number and this hallway as the murderer must have been, or something. Or Norman Reedus must be, by going through loops and being like, what is this shit? I
did so much, like, fun fact, for GGD video 2, that video was like, God, it was like 30% or 40% longer than it ended up being, because I was literally going through, I was trying to solve the colored flashlights, and I was literally going through every single room, loop of the hallway, writing down when the light would come up, when it would come off, how many lights you got during one loop versus another. And I was going down backwards down the staircase because that turns on the light in the hallway. And I was writing all this stuff down. And at the end of like 3 days of doing this, I was looking at my desk, and there were just a whole bunch of Mad Men scrawls, like the type of stuff you see on like walls in horror movies and shit. And I was like, what am I doing?
You're playing directly into the game's hands.
And that's why I was like, and that's when I took a step back and was like, oh my God, that's it. That's the horror of this thing. You're obsessing, and it's like, I was becoming Jim Carrey. Reference to, what was the movie you did, 23?
The Mask.
Oh, yeah, that one. No, yeah, that's one.
Yeah, that one.
Becoming obsessed with the Mask.
I was becoming Jim Carrey. The greatest horror of it all.
Nothing against Jim Carrey.
The scariest story. You become Jim Carrey at the end.
But yeah, it's cool to think about that stuff in terms of wanting to be viral and then sort of leaking back out into real life and sort of teaching you these cool lessons.
It's viral in a very organic, non-corporate way. Like, you watch corporations try to be hip and with it and viral, and it's like horribly embarrassing, cringe-inducing shit. Like, you know, brands tweeting the word bae and on fleek and all the teen words. And it's like, just stop. This is embarrassing.
And all the companies that jumped on that, the dress meme.
Oh God,
man.
the dress meme. Friggin' hell. So and in one day, all the companies will be tweeting about that shitty Charmander tattoo.
Yeah.
A week late.
I'm sure.
So this will probably be out way after that's over, God willing.
But yeah, it's just interesting to see someone doing virality right and doing it with seemingly a purpose.
I also, do you think, since you were talking about the flashlight colors, do you think that was a red herring? Because we couldn't make heads or tails out of the flashlight colors.
I'll just come out right and say it. I've did so many tests of that damn thing, and it's 100% random. There is no rhyme or reason to it. And the reason why I went through it so much is because at the very beginning I had 3 loops that the results of which looked like the flashlight activity increased when you go down the stairwell backwards. And I noticed that you do not get the same colored flashlights one right after the other when you go down backwards. And I tested this a few times, and then on my 10th try, I did it again, and 2 lights came up one right after the other after I went down backwards, and it was just it is completely random. Like, take it from me, I will say without a doubt, I am the person who tested that more than anyone on the internet. Anyone. I have the weird, crazy person scribblings to prove it. But,
You should post those somewhere.
Oh, God,
if they're around still.
They're embarrassing as hell.
I want to see the crazy person scribbling.
I was even making a doc for people to, hey, become as crazy as I am and jump in here. But, yeah, I mean, no, it's completely random. There is no...
That sucks. That sucks because at the end of the first or second video, you were like, next time we'll talk about the flashlight colors and what's up with them. And it was like, nope. No. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, it was more of like a, hey, maybe figure it out on your own. I certainly, because it wasn't like I was saying, hey, just do it, whatever, and then come to me and I'll take credit.
I'm tired.
It was more like, here's how to find it because, going down the stairwell backwards seems to do something. So I wanted to give people the ability to do that, but then it turned out that did nothing. Well. So fuck it. Anyway,
so much for that.
Yeah, it's don't waste time on it.
Also, speaking of red herrings, I wanted to bring up people have been saying that 204863, if you break it down phonetically in Japanese, it could make the phrase ofuroba mio. And ofuroba means the bathtub, and mio is old Japanese. It means, look at this. So people think 204863 means look at the bathtub. But holy shit, what are we looking at? There's nothing here, man. That's a big red herring. I don't know why people are still talking about it. It's nothing. People would have found something by now. There's nothing there.
This is if this was intended, this is the genius of this whole game. It's that if 204863 and a lot of these puzzles don't actually have concrete meanings or things that will, cause something in the game to happen, then a lot of people are going to obsess about this stuff and they're not going to sort of let it go away.
But having unsolvable things leads to obsession and discussion, which I think, ropes back into Silent Hill's fandom in general. Mm-hmm. We're still talking about the very first game that came out in 1999 and what the hell's going on with some elements of that game. So I think by adding purposeful mysteries that are not explainable and do not have an answer, that is true to the spirit of Silent Hill in the first place. And by not explaining things, you make it A, scarier, B, far more interesting, And it loops back into the whole obsession theme super well. To have these things that don't have answers, and it's baffling.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know what to do about it.
That speaks so much to like one of the things that we're going to talk about, hopefully not too much in TGD proper, is what exactly is the other world. Having things in games that just don't make sense and trying to make sense of them sort of takes away from them, because in horror games it's like it's a fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going on. That automatically makes it, one, interesting, and two, scary. If we don't know how something works, we're kind of, scared of it. But no, it's really interesting to think about that. But looping back to,
I like how we keep saying looping.
Well, I love saying.
That's perfect.
How many times have we said looping in this series? I need to do
like 7 times.
Lots.
In this podcast.
I was talking about what in episode 4, like how many times we said it. I know I said loop door way too many times.
Loop door.
And thank you, Casey Green, for enjoying the helpful bag.
the phrase helpful bag.
Yeah, he really liked that.
Helpful bag.
Helpful bag.
Which may or may not have a dick in it.
We'll talk about that. Oh, man.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
It'll get to it.
But I'm going to butcher this. Ofuroba Mio?
Thought you were talking about the dick.
No, I'm not talking about dicks.
I'm going to butcher this.
I'm going to butcher this dick. Oh,
Ofuroba Mio.
Ofuroba Mio. Look at the bathtub. That might have a meaning in the game. Not.
There was a little scritchety scratch on the side of the bathtub.
There were a few things, and one of them.
We have no clue what that scritchy scratch is.
No, and I think that's a red herring. Like, nothing happens with that. One of the things that I went back into the game before doing this podcast to check out was because people were saying that it's Japanese for look at the bathtub. So I went in there on the final loop. And I was looking at the hole, because there is a hole in there. And it leads, and you can see something in it if you use your flashlight. There's something, if you look around at it, something's moving in there. It might be just a bug, it might be something reflective, it might be something wrong with the engine, but there does seem to be like a line that's sort of curved, like in a hexagonal way, but I looked at it with all 4 flashlight colors. I looked at it with the normal flashlight color. I even looked at it with the hallway and the foyer light on. Like, nothing happens with it.
No.
So, maybe...
Although people have said that they believe that if you look at the peephole from the opposite side, you can see an eyeball peering through it. But I don't know if that's what that is. Or if you can see that at all, or if people are just making shit up, because people have been making shit up too. Like, there's another character, there's a ghost that's a guy ghost.
Yeah,
it's like, no, there isn't.
No, there really isn't, and I think I know where that idea comes from. It's when
like, they can't recognize Lisa from below.
Exactly. When she's on the balcony and looking down on you, it kind of looks like a different character. But if you watch the stream that VoidBurger and I did with Casey Green and Chip Cheesem, that's on my channel. I'll throw a link up. We actually gained the levels of that scene, and it's Lisa, without a doubt. Like, you can see the blood on her stomach. You can see her eyes. She even does the stereotypical Lisa shake, the sort of glitchy dance when she backs away. Like, you can actually see her do that if you gain the levels. But a lot of people look at that and think that that's the guy, and it totally isn't.
Well, it's just Lisa again. So these red herrings might just be things in there to make you feel a little bit more crazy.
Yeah, and the look at the bathtub thing, it might be simply a reference to looking at Lisa in the bathroom mirror, because that is a thing that happens in the game. It might be cool to, hey, they're referencing that. Maybe,
Since recording this podcast, more info has come to light from Twitter buddies that speak Japanese and also know about goro awase, which is the word for Japanese wordplay and puns involving numbers. While furo and ofuro does mean bathtub, the addition of the suffix ba changes its meaning. Ba means place, so ofuroba means the place where you bathe. Now, you might think, oh, that means bathroom, but hang on a minute. In Japanese households, the toilet is almost never in the same room where you bathe. An ofuroba generally looks like this. Not really a normal American-style bathroom, which they would probably refer to as toire in the context of this red herring hint. So it doesn't really translate to look at the bathtub, and it's more like look in the traditional Japanese-style bathing room, kinda. Not only that, but in order to even get Ofuroba Mio out of 204863, you have to rearrange all the numbers into 026834 and pick syllables at random. So by that logic, 204863 can also be arranged into 860342, which kinda means Ham is in the secret room. Or it can be rearranged into 648203, which kinda means use a laser on a cavity. Which, according to this Goro Awase generator, if you choose different syllables of that same arrangement, could also mean lotion horseshit laser. So yeah, we're gonna go with red herring. Now, back to the podcast. And the people who have seen, they think they see the eyeball in the hole. They've also theorized that that is your eye looking into the bathroom from another loop, and that the loop is like a time vortex, and you keep on passing by yourself without realizing it.
Well, something's definitely happening with time in there, or it's manipulating the digital clock. So I guess we don't really have any way of knowing.
It's super inconclusive. Yeah, we can't really comment on that, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. I like the idea.
Totally.
And there was also, like, somebody suggested that when you're locked in the bathroom and somebody's trying to get in the bathroom, they thought maybe that was Norman Reedus on another loop, trying to get into the bathroom to the first loop because the door was closed on the first loop.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'll just say it. I highly doubt that that's the case. Mainly because that's when you meet the fetus baby. Norman fetus, I think, is what some people are calling it.
Because some people think that the fetus is Norman.
Right, and
which I don't
theories,
understand.
You know, they're fun.
They're fun, but they need to have some sort of basis somewhere.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, you can just come in here and say that, oh, that fetus is actually a bear's fetus, and where's the evidence? But the reason why I say that is because that's when you first meet the fetus, and that's when it starts crying. And when it starts crying, that's when you hear the person walk over. Also, if memory serves, you can listen to the character walk forward and go to the door on the person on the outside, and you can hear the typical clip clop of Lisa's foot,
her high heel,
with her high heel, which highlights another theme, a symbolic theme of the game, which is possession. You can hear the clip clopping of her high heel when you're walking down the hallway, and it's sort of telling you that you have changed, that you are being possessed, or your physical form has changed, or something has changed about you, so that the sound is now emanating from you specifically and not any other character around you. And this is further emphasized by looking at the shadow on the wall as you walk down the hallway, which is no longer your shadow, it is Lisa's shadow.
So because of that, people have thought like, oh, you're playing Lisa in that loop, and it's not Norman Reedus at all. Some people have posited.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It would be interesting to maybe
it would make sense.
Yeah, I'm not,
because the shadow matches, the sound matches.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, why would his feet change sound?
Yeah, and
the sound that it makes.
That's a cool theory. I would want to go into the bathroom when that happens and
check the mirror.
Because if the mirror is to be believed, then maybe something wacky's going on.
That'd be pretty cool if you were actually in Lisa's model, controlling her model. But then you would also be considerably taller, wouldn't you?
You would be, yeah. I think it's symbolic. I think it's you have been possessed.
Yeah.
Because that the look behind you thing only happens when you get possessed at the end of the game. When Lisa charges you. And sort of becomes you, and then the same things that happen to you during that loop happen at the end when you get charged by Lisa. So those are things that we've noticed.
So on to the questions from the YouTubers and such kind people.
Hey YouTubers, hey kind people.
Hi.
Thank you for your questions. You guys are cool.
Yes, lots of cool questions. Probably the least cool question is it just me or does that guy look like Norman Reedus? Yes, it is him.
It does look like him, and it is him.
Yes. We're getting the annoying questions out of the way first. Someone accused us of making the videos longer to somehow make more money.
I don't.
Which is the opposite of how YouTube works.
Yeah, I heard that the reason they thought that was because some animator, I think the guy who does Game Grumps, what's that guy's name?
Ego Raptor?
Yeah, Ego Raptor on one of his videos said that you make more money if you have a video that's longer than 60 seconds. And
that's not hard to do. 60 seconds.
Yeah, one, that's not hard to do. And they said that it was because, I don't know where they're getting this from. If whoever's listening to this, if you have legit documentation on this from YouTube or Google or anyone who's tested this, because I've only heard this in an offhand comment by Ego Raptor on one of his videos. But the idea is that if you make videos longer, then you make more money. And they extrapolated that from what Ego Raptor said, which was you have to make a video longer. The money that you make for a video that's longer than a minute is dramatically more than if you make a video that is less than a minute. And they were extrapolating that to say, not Ego Raptor, but the guy on Reddit was extrapolating that to say the longer the videos you make, the more money you make. And the reason why they did this was because they wanted to get rid of Reply Girl videos, which, Reply Girl videos are usually...
I was going to guess that it was just people hosting commercials or something, which are selling their own product
right.
and advertising their own product, and those are always less than 60 seconds.
But to that, I have to say, that's not what we're doing at all. I can tell you without a doubt that doing longer videos hurts us.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people, when they do Let's Plays and stuff like that, it'll be part 300 of it because they split it into 10-minute chunks because it makes them more money to have 10-minute chunks than a 20-minute chunk. Because
people have to go to a new video if they want to watch the rest of it.
And see new ads at the new video.
Exactly. So you can, and that's not to say that you can't put mid-roll ads or any other types of those ads in videos, but you have to have a certain time length of your video to put in a mid-roll. Not only that, but if you pay attention to our video, we don't have mid-roll ads.
Nope.
We did not put mid-roll ads. We did not make these to be to generate the most amount of money. Yes, we do want to make some money to make back the money that we're spending in both time and in costs. I mean, I had to buy a bunch of After Effects plugins, and I had to buy music. That stuff's not, I don't want to get into a big deal about this, but suffice it to say, making money is not our number one priority.
It's not the main objective here.
We make the videos the way that we make them because we want to present this in more of a documentary style. We want to cover things thoroughly. And that's one of the reasons why we double back on certain concepts.
Yeah, the origin of this accusation that we made the videos too long to make more money comes from the fact that in the previous video, a lot of lines were repeated a couple of times and we rehashed previous topics but it was in order to have transitions between the topics, basically, to remind people, hey, remember when we brought up that thing? Well, it also applies to blank. Because people forget what we just said 10 minutes ago. It's a long video. Mm-hmm. So it's like rehashing those things in a long video makes total sense, especially when some of the YouTubers can't understand that, yes, that is Norman Reedus.
Right.
Sometimes we have to repeat some stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like we're being... we are being pedantic, and I take that criticism to heart, and I will in the future look to make our scripts less rambly. Part of the reason, I'll just be frank, part of the reason that was kind of rambly was because I wrote the majority of that doc at 1 a.m. on a work day, and I was kind of loopy. But get it, loopy?
Loopy. And I did editing on it, but not enough to notice the repeating phrases.
There was also a lot of stuff in there that got cut out.
It was a large document in the first place, and then a lot of it got removed and swapped around and switched positions, and it just got so confusing that it's like, I dare you to read this giant document, 5 times in a row and not be like, okay, it's fine, just do it.
Yeah. But, we will take that to heart. I will be on the lookout for that in the future. So thank you for your criticism. But the second thing that I would say is that about the whole making it large, making the videos longer to make more money, is I literally can't find any evidence of that being the case anywhere on the internet. Like the thing that they're saying about that Eagle Raptor said was that there's a marked difference between the money that you make between a video that is less than 1 minute and a video that is longer than 1 minute. But that's not to say that the longer the video you make, the more money you'll make. That's
simply not how YouTube works.
So
it's a binary thing.
Yeah.
It's not
It's not exponential. It's not like it doesn't. It's not tiered or anything. Or at least I don't know. I simply don't know.
I don't think it. I haven't heard anything of the sort of that.
I haven't either.
Well, the thing is, if longer videos did make more money, all the videos on YouTube would be an hour long.
Right. They would be bloated.
Right? Wouldn't there be a lot of long videos on YouTube if long videos made a lot more money than short videos?
Right.
Like, think logically. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've talked about this way too long.
Yeah, sorry.
I think everyone gets the idea.
Yeah. This is just how I talk. I'm kind of, rambly.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So it comes out in the scripts occasionally.
Occasionally, yeah. Which is why having you edit is so great.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of other questions from YouTube. A lot of them were asked by different people, and it was the same question. So here's a few that multiple people have asked. We already answered what's up with the flashlight colors. The answer is we don't know.
Yep.
Sorry. If anyone does know, please figure it out. We would be so interested to see that get figured out.
But don't turn into a crazy weirdo.
Don't do to yourself what Bob did to himself. Next question multiple people asked. What does Norman Reedus have to do with all of this? Who is Norman Reedus in this game, and what impact does he have on the actual story of PT? Because the story of PT is fathers killing their families. Mm-hmm. Is he a father? Is he part of a family? Is he just some schmuck that wandered in off the streets?
I mean, there seems to be evidence that Lisa may know him or may want him there, because Lisa is like kind of toying with him at multiple points. But I know that you had a theory about this, VoidBurger.
Yeah, so in Silent Hill 2's Born from a Wish sub-scenario, Maria is told by Ernest, which is some mysterious unseen stranger guy who's behind some door, and he's probably a ghost, whatever. She's told by that guy that James is looking for the you that isn't you. Mm-hmm. And like when I was replaying Born from a Wish recently, that line just struck me, and I was like, oh my god, that's so similar to the phrase, "Are you sure the only you is you?" Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, maybe this could imply, if there's a connection and they're, taking inspiration from the other games and stuff like that, I feel like maybe this could imply that Norman Reedus' character could potentially also be a manifestation of Silent Hill, just like Maria is. Because Maria was made. She's not real. She's a manifestation of the town. She was only made to torture James and remind him of what horrible things he did and try to make him snap out of it. Mm-hmm. And Silent Hill didn't just make her and plop her down in Rosewater Park and say, okay, wait for him. You know what to do. The town had to teach her what to do and decide, like, it almost felt like a trial, like to figure out, like, is she worthy of this? And she also had to be in this weird house where some tragedy happened that she is totally unrelated to. And she had to figure out what happened to who, what, where, when, why. And it was her responsibility to run these errands, basically, and figure out this mystery. And only then was she informed of her purpose, and all of a sudden it dawned on her, like, oh yeah, James. And then she just wanders off to go do her duty, what she was manifested to do. Mm-hmm. But why would the town run her through this obstacle course? Like, is it training? Is it proving that she's worth it? She's a proper manifestation that can do the job, right? Or something. But, if this is the case, maybe Norman is here in this hallway to learn the purpose of his existence and why Silent Hill manufactured him. He's a fake person, maybe. Is there someone out there that dreamed Norman up, and it's somebody he's destined to meet and subsequently help, in the way Silent Hill likes, quote-unquote, helping people. Mm-hmm. So maybe Born from a Wish is to Silent Hill 2, as PT is to Silent Hills, and it's like an extra scenario that explains an otherworldly element of the main game that we've yet to see.
Right.
So that's my nifty idea that is, like, I don't know. that is not super duper based in anything, but it just got me that one line, looking for the you that isn't you. Are you sure the only you is you? Just made my brain think, what if these two things are related? What if that happened?
Yeah, totally.
I've got some evidence for Norman not being real and being someone else's manifestation of guilt or punishment or whatever, and he might be used in Silent Hills to torment or confuse some other character, besides the link between those lines.
Yeah, it seems like, Jay, whoever he is, and we'll talk about that. I know in the video we kind of pigeonholed him into being the 10-year-old boy that Lisa's husband shot. Whoever Jay is, it's very possible that, he's creating this whole hallway out of his grief or possibly his enjoyment of, reliving these events or, some grudge he's got against his father. One of the things that we found out is that his father, if you listen to the radio broadcast, is likely still alive. At the end, you hear that he's sitting in his car listening to the radio. And, I mean, Jay, regardless of whether you think Jay is the fetus or the a 10-year-old boy, Jay is dead. So it may be that he's trying to create someone to go out and kill that guy,
No, maybe.
So, there are lots of ways you can take it, but it's
like, why would you torture and torment the guy that you want to help you get revenge?
I don't know. It might be one of those things where Jay's definitely making up the hallway, or Lisa is. Someone with intimate knowledge of what happened in that hallway knows it.
Or maybe Jay doesn't have the power. Silent Hill has the power.
Maybe.
And Jay is just being used as a jumping off point, kind of like the Baldwin house in Born from a Wish. Like, the house didn't have power, Ernest didn't have power, but those things were brought to life by Silent Hill and used as a training ground, sort of.
It seems though,
there's even parallels between, Maria hears that looking for the you that isn't you line. She hears it from a faceless entity, this guy behind a door that's like a mysterious benefactor, kind of helping you, but not being really that helpful. And you hear, Norman Reedus hears, are you sure the only you is you, through a disembodied voice coming from a bag that you don't know is a mysterious benefactor or a mysterious antagonist or what. It's like the same origin is from this mysterious force telling this person almost the same line.
Yeah.
And there's also the implications of being controlled and possessed can also be applied to Maria, who felt drawn to do things without knowing why. And she remembered things she didn't know that she knew, mostly about Laura. And that could similarly be extended to Norman's character, because we are compelled to play this game as this character who is compelled to walk through a hallway for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So it's another compulsion obsession. Why am I even doing this? Why do I know these things? Why do I care about this stuff?
Though that may be a link back to being a commentary about the player. Why am I doing all these things? Well, that's how I progress, through the game. But maybe one of the reasons why it definitely seems like Jay has fully grasped that that he has control over something, because he mentions the toys and he's coming back. And he couldn't do those before. He's doing them now because he's gained some power or something has changed. And
but that's kind of similar to Ernest too, because he doesn't have the power to leave the house, but he sends Maria out to get the white chrism so he could do the ceremony to bring back his daughter. But then when you go into the room, there's nobody there, and Ernest didn't exist. But it's he had the power to tell you these things, to tell you to get this white stuff, and he seemed happy to get it too, and it's but there's no one in there. What the hell?
Yeah. And maybe one of the reasons why Lisa's tormenting you throughout the game is because Jay could only create an area with Lisa in it, and Lisa was like a caged wild animal. Maybe she was just doing shit because she's a friggin' crazy ghost who just wants to fuck everything up because of what happened to her. And I wouldn't blame her. I don't know.
I don't know if Jay could be a mastermind or not. I'm not really decided in either direction on that.
I don't know. It might just be Silent Hill.
Yeah, I think it's just because I like the idea of Silent Hill as a flame that moths can't help but fly into, and it's not doing things on purpose, but there is some I don't know, it's hard to tell if there's an intelligence behind it or not.
Yeah, it's kind of fluctuated from game to game.
But I feel to have Jay as a character have all this power is kind of not Silent Hill-ish. Like, it's weird for someone to have, like, this ultimate power. Like, it's the town that has the power, and the town puppeteers people. Well, like, the town is always, like, the quote-unquote force, the mastermind. And I don't like the idea, personally. I don't like the idea of Jay having power.
I'm talking more about Jay being like Alessa from Silent Hill 1, where he kind of understands that he has some power, some control, whether it's purposeful or not. And that he understands this and maybe is doing things to his advantage. And I kind of like that. I kind of like, what would happen if Silent Hill 1...
But Alessa was so important because of ritual reasons. And she was born special in the first place. She was like partially psychic or something.
Yeah, she was.
And she got impregnated with God. And of course that's going to give you godlike powers if you're impregnated with God. But Jay, who's this kid? I have no reason to think that he would be bestowed with powers. Like, he acts all cocky.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do we know if he really has the powers or if it's just Silent Hill taking that anger and just, warping it and spewing it back out again? I don't know.
Hey, we won't know until Silent Hills comes out, and it's up in the air as to whether or not they're even going to talk about anything from P.T.
We won't know until never.
Yeah, it's and especially considering what happened with Konami and Kojima.
Yeah, who knows what's going on with that, but...
Oh, sigh. But,
Anyway, I like the idea of the hallway being a learning experience, and we and Norman have to learn about this family over the course of the game, and when we figure out the puzzles, which are based on the story and the characters and the vague hints, the hallway allows us to leave and enter the streets of Silent Hill. That's the reward. The same thing as, once Maria had her epiphany about James, and she realized she had a purpose and a mission, she just goes to Rosewater Park. She knows what she's supposed to do.
Right. And that's cool, and I agree with that. And I don't think, who was creating the hallway has necessarily any kind of impact on that. It's just cool. Like, that's the core concept, and if that is true, then that's pretty cool. Like, even if it's not true, it's pretty cool. I'm not sure why I worded it like that. But, yeah, I mean, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Shit.
I have a few more points, though, about evidence for this theory that I think is really cool. Another similarity is that Maria dies over and over again and comes back to life to punish James until he learns. And Norman Reedus dies and comes back to life over and over again until we learn how to escape the hallway. Mm-hmm. So if we think of Norman's respawning more as canonical and less like a game mechanic, it's another link between the two characters, which may imply that they are the same, like, otherworldly, unreal entities. And Maria's deaths are punishments for James not learning, the same as Norman's deaths are punishments for us not learning.
Right, and in order to actually talk to the helpful bag, you have to die. And you can, the glitch loop will shove you back out, and I think you can talk to the bag that way. But the main way most people get it is by dying. Yeah, and I would totally be on board with that. Like, dying is canonical. I mean, it kind of has to be, especially if you're thinking about, going through the last loop, and how many times people must have died doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, like, the statement of, I'm bringing my new toys with me could also maybe apply if we think of Norman as literally like a toy or a tool to be used by Silent Hill to torment somebody else. Just like Maria was kind of Silent Hill's toy, used by the town to reenact Mary's death over and over and over again in front of James until he remembered it. So it's like, maybe that's another, like, parallel. But I don't know, I personally really like this theory I came up with. There's no huge, the evidence is all circumstantial, but there's also no evidence against it. And I personally like it a lot, but whatever. Yeah,
and if anything, it's one of those things that's fun to think about.
Exactly. I had so much fun thinking about it.
Yeah. That's all you can really do in Silent Hill. Have fun thinking about shit.
That's my big gushing rant about my theory that I like. So
I like it too. It's a good theory.
Nice. So, another thing people want us to talk about more was the radio and how spooky it is. And how it relates to the other radios in the series, because the radio has been a steadfast companion in all of the games except 4. I think 4 didn't have flashlight either, did it?
4 did have a radio, if memory serves, and you did hear a few things coming from it.
I don't think it actually had a physical Like, you could, it still had, like, the noises, but you didn't actually have a radio with you, did you?
Yeah, no, you didn't have I'm pretty sure you didn't have a radio with you.
Because it would have taken up space in your scant inventory.
Yeah, but I'm talking more about in Henry's room. There is that radio that comes on.
Oh, that's true. There's that radio.
So at least it plays a role. Maybe not the same role that came on before. Maybe it was just an homage.
But yeah, there's radios. There's radios in all the games then.
Totally.
Let's just say that.
And I'm sure that was one of the reasons why a radio appeared in PT.
It's a staple. Silent Hill and radios.
Yeah.
And in most of the games, the radio has been nothing but helpful because it tells you when monsters are around by emitting static.
Mm-hmm.
But the radio has also been a little bit nefarious as well, especially like at the beginning of Silent Hill 2, where you can hear Mary saying, like, "Why did you kill me?" on it.
And fun to think about is that Mary is dead, so how is she talking to James? Is that a manifestation of the town, or is that maybe a hint that there's like another dimension where the dead people can come say hey?
Ooh.
Which is fun because that loops directly into PT and
Loops.
all these voices. God,
Loops.
I keep saying that. Anyway, it's a fun word to say. Loop.
I like it. It's fine. It's thematic. It's appropriate.
But yeah, it's a fun little parallel.
Somebody also said we should talk about the evil DJ Bobby Ricks, but he isn't evil.
No, he's not evil.
Replay the game. He's not evil. He's just some guy. He's being
Forced against his will.
Yeah, he's being blackmailed by Silent Hill, basically.
Basically.
He's being threatened by Silent Hill. And that's why he's doing spooky DJ stuff, because spookier things are telling him to do spooky DJ stuff.
Hey, come on. It's not that spooky what he's doing.
No, it's not. He's just saying, "Hi, Murphy."
Also, here's a cool song.
Here's a song.
You like indie music, right?
Now that Akira Yamaoka's gone, here's all this shit
Yeah.
that you don't like as much. But no, I don't have anything to say about DJ Bobby Rex. I don't know why somebody brought it up.
Yeah, I mean,
Because they misunderstood that he was evil. But yeah, the radio hasn't really been proper evil.
No.
Until this game. It's been this game is pretty evil, right?
Yeah. I mean, and the radio itself doesn't seem to be nefarious. It's just a tool that's being used by spirits to mess with you. So, yeah, and really that's what it was in the previous games too. It was just a tool that, for some reason or another, maybe that'll be delved into more in Silent Hills.
I feel like the radio was some kind of barometer of otherworldliness, kind of. Like it reacted to otherworldly things, like the monsters, and it was a tool through which Mary could speak to you only that one time.
Right.
The same way that she spoke through the static on the television. That's just an old-timey way that, people have always thought, like, oh, there's ghosts in the TV, there's ghosts in the radio, I heard a spooky thing. And, I mean, that's always been a trope. Spirits using physical media to get attention and to speak to us through TV screens and radio broadcasts and things like that.
Quite literally at the end of the ring.
That's the whole point of the ring, yeah. Poltergeist.
Yep.
Also all about spooky things in TVs.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I don't know, it's just a common thing. The radios and the spirit world.
I think they wanted to figure out, and by they I mean Kojima Productions, figure out like kind of what is the essence of Silent Hill, and I think they came up with some pretty interesting ideas of what that was, and then tried to sort of subdue them and like shove them down and make a really like sort of vague version of that in PT.
I feel like Lisa is kind of the extreme conclusion to Pyramid Head, kind of. Like the way you felt stalked in Silent Hill 2 by Pyramid Head, even though he doesn't really show up that often, you always kind of felt he was just in the room before you, or just in the room behind you, or something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You felt stalked even though you weren't actually that stalked. And like Lisa spends the whole game stalking you and fucking with you and
probably
scaring the shit out of you.
More overtly than...
Yes. Definitely more overtly, but it does do similar tricks that Silent Hill 2 did to spook you. And like, what was that noise? Oh, it was nothing. This time it was her.
Yeah. She doesn't chase you down a hallway though.
But yeah, I feel like she's an evolution of the kind of scares that you got from Pyramid Head, but a lot more in your face. Definitely a lot more in your face.
Way more in your face.
Literally, right directly in your face.
Completely up in your grill. And up in your pants.
Let's talk about that now that you brought it up.
Okay.
Because that was also something multiple people asked us about. How come you're not stating the obvious, they said. She probably ripped his dick off and put it in a bag, and that dick is talking to you.
Okay, one, because I kind of did say that. We kind of did say that. Because we just didn't overtly say penis or dick. We said an organ from around that area. So
we said, like, maybe his spleen or his stomach. Because, like, if we, honestly, like, think about it. If we actually said, like, she rips off his dick and puts it in a bag and it talks to you. So think of how many people would have just been like, nope, shut off the video. That's stupid. There's no dick talking to me in a bag. So we didn't want to outright say, like, maybe it's a dick in a bag. It's talking to you through its urethra or something.
Oh, man. I mean, that's in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. But it's like, we didn't want to just outright say that because people would have, like, been more skeptical about saying it than us not saying it, I think.
Right.
But, oh well, we're saying it now. Maybe it's a dick in a bag.
And that's another reason I didn't want to say it, because it sounds so dumb coming out of my mouth.
Dumb. Dick in a bag. It sounds dumb.
There may be a dick
helpful
in that
bag with a dick in it.
Helpful dick bag. But, you know...
and it's also a little... I feel like it's not really thematically appropriate, because, I don't know. You think about both Silent Hill and Kojima, and hell, Del Toro too. Whatever. Throw him in the mix.
Sure.
I don't know as much about Del Toro, though, admittedly. But it's so easy to do phallic symbology, phallic imagery. People do it accidentally all the time, just because it's so easy. And Silent Hill is no stranger to dicks and vaginas. They're all over the fucking place. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in the same place at once. Splitworm from Silent Hill 3. That's a vagina dick combo monster.
I was thinking more of the piston room from Silent Hill 2, but yeah, that's a little bit more overt visually.
Yeah, that's just a dick vag monster. But I feel like if there was definitely meant to be a dick in that bag, what a stupid sentence.
Yeah.
If there's definitely meant to be a dick in that bag, I feel like there would have been more other phallic things in the game to insinuate that would be a possibility besides just, an unzipping sound, because there are zippers on his jacket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it could have been other zippers. He did have a big zip-up jacket.
There is a marked sound of a buckle, but that's not necessary.
There's buckles on his jacket too. Motorcycle jackets have buckles on them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to say, like, it doesn't necessarily... There are zippers on his jacket. There are buckles on his jacket. It's not necessarily that he's unbuckling the pants. I said he, I meant she. She is doing something, obviously, because you're moving around and there's a noise going on. But we simply do not know, like, what's happening. And so we have to keep it vague. We didn't want to say dick in a bag, mainly because it sounded ridiculous. But if you think about it more, I mean, what's in the bag is more of a symbolic thing than an actual physical thing. Mm-hmm. It's more about what that represents rather than what it actually is.
And I feel like, if you talk about representing things, I feel like dicks are pretty loaded.
Nah.
If you will. But yeah, like if you put a dick in that bag, besides a heart or a spleen or anything else, like that means a whole nother thing than something else. So maybe they didn't want to make it obvious that it was a dick or wasn't a dick, because there's a whole other set of symbology that goes along with penises.
Right.
Like, you have to think, like, imagine, let's say it definitely is a dick. Mm-hmm. Why? Why is it a dick? Because it is a dick. We have to assume that this must have to do with sex or power, manhood, masculinity, stuff like that. And the masculinity angle I get, because it's about fathers killing their families and, the social problems that lead to that. I understand that. But why would masculinity be talking to us and telling us how to survive the whole way? I don't know.
Yeah,
like, I just don't know. Like, it's kind of a mess symbolically. And like, if it does have something to do with sex, then, because Lisa was pregnant.
Yeah,
but
that's the only...
It gets so sloppy if it's a dick. This is why we didn't want to mention it was a dick,
because it opens up a whole can of dicks and like a whole bag of dicks.
It's a whole bag of dicks.
that basically it's loaded. There's all sorts of things that can be drawn from it being a dick. And why does it have to be a dick? Why can't it be like your small intestine? Why can't it be your large intestine? Like, it doesn't matter what it is in that sense. But if it was a dick, I mean, yeah, I would say that it has definitely something to do with birthing symbolism. Definitely the fetus. Possibly a reference to Lisa, possibly talking to that one dude at her boss.
Yeah, when she had the cashier job.
Yeah, when she was at the cashier job. It may have something to do with infidelity. It may have something to do with.
But why would she tear off Norman's dick? Because he doesn't seem to really have anything to do with this. He's probably not the grocery store guy. He's probably not the murderer dad. He's either dead or in jail or something. I just don't know what it means for her to rip off Norman Reedus's dick.
The only other thing that I can think of that would make sense symbolically would be at the beginning, you have the radio broadcast talking about the reasons why fathers kill their families. Mm-hmm. And I know I did some research of that, and one of the reasons is sort of this sort of masculine way of thinking that that your family can't be protected anymore, and so that's why you kill them. Because you're not good, you can't protect them, and so you just kill them to make it so that they don't have to worry about that anymore. There was also it's wrapped up in a lot of masculinist thinking, and another reason is you can't provide. You're not a good man. That's the only other thing I can think of, and these are they're wishy-washy and.
Well, the only other sex imagery that I know for sure is in PT is the cockroaches that are fucking.
Yes.
Because they're all over the place. There's a bunch of them.
Yes.
Those double up cockroaches. That's how they mate. And it's like the first thing you see, too, are these mating cockroaches.
Yep.
And they wanted us to talk about the cockroaches as well, because we didn't. And we definitely should, because I don't really know what the cockroaches mean.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that got cut out of the main doc for Video 4. And, that's why we named it The Story of PT, because we were originally going to do the story and symbolism of PT. And that's the cockroaches is more of a symbolic thing.
Yeah, we don't know what they have to do with the story.
We don't know what they have to do with the story.
They probably don't have anything to do with the actual story.
Right. In the fact that you can see them having sex at the beginning, if anything, that makes me think of, just a primal sort of natural. I see, even right now, it's kind of hard to talk about.
You're reaching already.
Because it's just, I'm reaching, I'm trying
I think, because I already have a small idea formulated about this. Besides, obviously, Silent Hill liking bugs. There's bugs in all the games, basically, so far as I remember. And most of them are cockroaches, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's correlated with death. Because lots of bugs eat corpses. They're not maggots, though. That would be way more death-like to have maggots around. But I'm pretty sure cockroaches eat dead things, too.
Real quick, this ties in with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of research because we were talking about this. And cockroaches, in the trailer for PT, there is a shot of the helpful bag with a bunch of cockroaches around it. And they're sort of like, it looks like they're eating from it. And I did a little bit of research, and cockroaches do eat blood. They drink blood.
Okay.
So they can get sustained on that. But another thing, cockroaches are probably the most resilient insect.
Yes, they're durable. They can survive nuclear holocausts and stuff.
So maybe that's a symbolic way of saying that certain emotions, maybe the emotion that Lisa is feeling, is surviving and thriving in this environment.
Or maybe it's just, maybe like it's a kind of a mix of like, this is primal and it is infinite. It will never go away.
Right.
Just like sex is primal and infinite. It will never go away.
Right.
Death is primal and infinite. It will never go away. And Silent Hill loves combining sex and death. That's one of the only things I really like about Shattered Memories is
the tiger in space?
The tiger in space. At first I thought it was goofy, but then I realized like it's kind of doing a little commentary on the Silent Hill series there, because your shrink, Dr. K, was saying that sex is death. It's a leap into the void, the great loss of self, the tiger in space, which makes no sense. I don't get it. But
it's fun to think about, though.
It's fun to think about. A cute little tiger floating around in space. But I like that Silent Hill likes combining sex and death because they're both voyeuristic things. People are curious about both, drawn to both. You can, both are kind of sick in their own ways, but they're both natural. And combining them into this, beautiful, grotesque thing is very a primal fear. To see these sexy things that have something really wrong with them. All these monsters in Silent Hill 2 have pretty nice gams for monsters. And a lot of, the nurses and stuff like that in most of the games, they're a little hot.
Yeah.
And there's just always been a combination of sex and death. And it's a really innate, uncanny thing to combine those things.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what they're doing in a very removed, non-attractive way by featuring these mating cockroaches or something.
Yeah, and it's interesting to point out that in Silent Hill 2 you have all these quote-unquote sexy monsters, and then later on in the game you're introduced to Angela's monster, this one that she's seeing, which is literally just two people having sex on a bed, which, when you know the context of what happened to Angela, becomes this whole other awful thing.
It's even more fucked up.
And then you're taking that and looping it back with the sexiness of the monsters. It's Silent Hill has always had a really interesting fascination with sex and death. I agree.
It loves relating the two.
Yeah. And just corrupting it and messing around with it, yeah.
And I think in French, the word for orgasm means little death.
Oh yeah, the little death, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just a common theme.
Yeah.
That Silent Hill has always been interested in, and it's nice to see it represented in this.
Also, cockroaches have the word cock in them. Dick in the bag.
Dick in a bag.
Evidence. There you go.
Cock bag.
Cock bag. We have fun.
We do have fun with Silent Hill. But more people should have fun with Silent Hill.
Exactly.
Too many people being grumpy about Silent Hill. Let's have fun.
When you have fun, people have fun, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's next?
Did we talk enough about cocks and cockroaches yet?
I think we talked too much about it.
Okay. But yeah, that's why we didn't talk about it. Because that would have happened. What just happened? That would have happened.
Yeah.
And then people would have stopped watching the video.
Yeah, it's one of those topics, man, that...
it's too loaded. It's a loaded topic.
That's not to say we won't talk about similar things in future TGD videos. It's just we're going to sort of approach them with more tact, more finesse.
We say it as we finish making a million dick jokes.
Dick and bag.
So, people want us to talk more about connections to the other Silent Hill games, especially how the War of the Worlds references might be little tongue-in-cheek references to the UFO endings that are featured in most of the Silent Hill. Actually, all of them have UFO endings, don't they?
Downpour didn't have a UFO ending.
They had a happy birthday ending.
But that was more of a joke ending. And you could say that they didn't have the UFO ending in Silent Hill 2 until, what was that, the greatest hits? Anyhows.
For those of you who don't know, Silent Hill has UFO endings, and it has had them for a long while.
Yep.
First one, you take this little talisman thing and you use it in a bunch of places, and UFOs come down and kidnap, abduct Harry Mason while he asks them, have you seen my daughter, Cheryl? And drags him away, and then the credits roll as they zoom off into space. Second game, you do the same thing with a different artifact, you use it in a bunch of different places, and the same thing happens to James. The UFOs come down, but this time Harry is with them, and they both ask each other, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my wife? And then James gets zapped and kidnapped by Harry Mason and the aliens, and Harry Mason does a little thumbs up at the camera. And then the credits roll. And then the third one, Heather comes in, talks to her dad, who has not been killed by the cult, because he's having tea with an alien, and James is, chilling out in the background somewhere looking shifty. And they take the aliens to Silent Hill and they zap it to death and destroy Silent Hill. And a really good song plays. And the fourth one doesn't have a UFO ending.
The fourth one is the only one that has absolutely no
That's right.
UFO ending.
I knew there was one in there that definitely didn't have it. And then the other ones have cutesy UFO endings too, and they're silly. They're all very silly, great joke endings that I love dearly.
Wait, Book of Memories doesn't have one either. It only has a joke ending.
Well, that whole game's a joke if you ask me. Whoa!
Yeah, and then Origins had one. Silent Hill the Arcade had one. Homecoming had one. Shattered Memories had one.
Downpour did not. Book of Memories did not.
Right.
They just had other joke endings. So, the majority of the games have had UFO endings specifically.
Yeah.
And PT references War of the Worlds, and that might be a little wink and a nod to all the UFO endings that have been in the games this whole time.
And hey, that may be true. They're referencing a lot of the stuff from the previous Silent Hill games with the radio and...
Lisa's name.
Yeah, Lisa's name.
You know.
Angela's name.
Angela's name, yeah.
And maybe Jay with James. Ugh, I don't know about that one, though. But, whatever.
So there isn't that much to talk about besides just acknowledging that exists, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing symbolically to chat about the UFO endings. They're just in there to be funny.
Yep.
This is the only time it has been decidedly not funny. The mention of UFOs. Okay. This is a big question. This is going to be hard.
Uh-oh.
Can Silent Hills be made without messing up the canon even more?
Yes, by being a reboot.
I also think yes by not talking about the cult at all, ever.
Yes, please leave the cult alone.
Just leave it alone. I'm tired of it.
I know a lot of you Silent Hill fans can't get enough of Silent Hill 3, but that was I hated it so much. Silent Hill 2 was great. That's the first game that I came in with, and it didn't touch on the cult, or if it did, it was very minute. Little hints and references here and there.
I like that, because I always thought that Silent Hill has been asking for and begging for to be treated as an anthology. Like, the Twilight Zone is an anthology of sci-fi and horror and fantasy stories. And I think that Silent Hill would also be absolutely perfect for an anthology-based story setup. But dang, they just insist on not doing it, and it's getting annoying. It's like, just use Silent Hill and the lore behind it as a jumping-off point for new stories about new people doing new things.
It's set up to do that.
It's so set up to do that. You don't even have to have it be in Silent Hill, because only Silent Hill 1 and 2 took place entirely in the town of Silent Hill. Silent Hill 3 didn't take place entirely in Silent Hill.
Nope. 4 definitely
4
not.
Doesn't take place in Silent Hill barely at all.
South Ashfield.
5 does a little. The Origins has it, and Downpour is all in Silent Hill, but a lot of them don't take place in Silent Hill, so it's like you don't even have to be married to the town itself, just the idea, the influence of it, the spookiness of it.
Right.
So it's like, dang, just make an anthology.
Especially since, it's kind of cool to think about the town, influencing all the other towns around it, or some other place than God knows where. And that adds a little bit more of an intrigue to it, like what's happening in this story. And it's not the same old, we have to go to Silent Hill to battle our demons or, exercise this stuff. It's just, it allows for a lot of really cool Twilight Zone-y things and stories to be told.
I like the idea that's similar to the Twilight Zone, that, this could happen anywhere. There is no limit.
Right.
The Twilight Zone is between the depths of man's fears and the summit of his imagination. Mm-hmm. And it's like that's Silent Hill, too. Mm. It doesn't have to have a solid set-in-stone setting or even, an MO that it constantly does the same sort of things over and over again. It's just hey, cool stories that are kind of creepy with an ironic twist here and there. And that's a Twilight Zone. Why don't you just make that Silent Hill? And do it.
And you can explain that in merely the first few games, because, that's how the power came to be. That's how Silent Hill came into its own. And then stuff happens after that, and it's all over the world. So. And
the more that they do story-based stuff and cult-based stuff, the more they're kind of ruining it, because the idea is that the scary things are mysterious. Mysterious things are scary. The more you write stories about the cult, the more you're explaining things, which ruins scary things. Nothing ruins something scary than explaining what it is.
Right, totally.
So no matter what they do, if they do a cult story, they're going to be explaining something, and that needs to friggin' stop. Yeah. Stop explaining things friggin' now.
We don't have to know the motivations of the town. We don't need to know certain aspects of the cult. We don't need to know anything about the cult.
It makes it better that we don't know, because not only is it scary, but it allows us all this room for theorizing and discussing with other fans, and that's the fun part.
Yeah.
It's being like, wow, what'd you think about this thing? What does that mean?
And that's not to say that you can't have a story in and of its own that, tells the story about what happens to a person who comes to Silent Hill. It's like, we're not saying don't have a story. Mm-hmm. We're saying the story of Silent Hill has already been told and retold and then unretold and then retold.
Retconned.
And I wouldn't say retconned, but I would say, like, shattered memories. Like, what?
I think Origins retconned a little.
Oh, yeah, well. Yeah, there were a few things in Origins.
Yeah, Origins made my life harder.
Origins made every Silent Hill fan's lives harder. Especially the person writing the timeline for the series. Woo, Lord.
But yeah, like, I think Silent Hills can be made without messing up the canon. Just stay away from the canon. Just steer clear. Put a big police tape around it. Say, don't touch this.
Right.
Just leave it alone. Don't retcon it, don't explain it, don't dive in. If you do dive in, do something interesting and new that's not really related, like play in the lore playground without changing it. If they did a Silent Hill game in the past about, like, one of the cult saints or something, that was just about that person, like, getting fucked up and stuck in Silent Hill or whatever the heck was up with that. But don't add any more. Don't explain the lore, don't add any more religious paintings, don't add any more text dumps about the rituals or anything like that. Or
don't make a character's name L just so that you can reveal later that it's actually Laura from Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't be like, this is the great-great-grandmother of, I don't fucking know, some fucking guy of Dr. Kaufman, I don't care. Like...
It's just, don't touch it. You don't have to. Just because we're fans of the series doesn't mean we, like, wait for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a good example, which people wouldn't think is a good example, but I think it's a good example of what I'm talking about, is the Silent Hill arcade. It actually took a lore that was there, the little Baroness. There's a note in Silent Hill 2 in the prison, I think. Yep. Talking about the little Baroness, a boat that sunk, and there was a bunch of people on it. They died in Toluca Lake, and they made a stupid arcade shooter out of it. I thought that was fine. It didn't change anything. It didn't explain anything. It was just like, hey, some people died on this boat. There's ghosts or some shit. Whatever. It doesn't affect any of the rest of the canon. You don't have to know about the Silent Hill arcade to play Silent Hill 2 or anything.
And it fills in some blanks, maybe, that weren't...
But they're blanks that didn't matter.
And they're blanks that didn't matter, and they were blanks that were already set up by the previous games. Mm-hmm. And what if you were to do something about the hotel? Make a game about the what happened, who the person who possibly... This is a theory about Silent Hill 2, but there's a theory where someone burned down the hotel at the end.
An arsonist, yeah.
Yeah. And what if you make a game about that guy? Like, what happened to him? Or maybe draw an allusion to him somewhere. You don't have to do it, but that wouldn't ruin it.
But, like, don't say that the arsonist that was being kept in the sanitarium in Silent Hill Origins was the same arsonist that torched the hotel on the other side of the lake. Like, because there was an arsonist that was in that sanitarium or whatever. But it's like, don't interconnect too hard.
Right.
It's like there's too much desperate trying to be relevant to the previous games, trying to remind you of the previous games. But the more it does that, the more it makes me wish I was playing the previous games and not playing this game.
Right.
Like, Downpour did it the worst.
And Silent Hill 4 did it in a weird way.
Yeah. Like, Downpour, you go into a random apartment, and it is the apartment from Silent Hill 4, and it's like, oh, wow, I feel joy. I wish I was playing Silent Hill 4. And that's a bad thing for me to say, because I actually don't like that game that much. I think I do, and then I replay it and I go, oh, right. Second part is garbage. Hot steaming garbage.
Oh man, so many dropped balls.
What did Silent Hill 4 do? That was a big callback.
Oh, just Red Devil.
Oh, that's right. They retconned Red Devil. Sort of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's kind of, sort of. It wasn't set up, but like at the same time, if you're going to do something that ties it back to Silent Hill, I guess that's not very offensive if you're going to do something like that. But like at the same time, you don't have to do it. If you're going to do it.
You didn't need to do that because that actually that retroactively made that note less interesting.
Right.
That note that was talking about the Red Devil, because at the time you thought it was talking about Pyramid Head.
Yeah, it was.
And that was scarier to be like, oh, he's talking about Pyramid Head, and then later on you play Silent Hill 4, it's like, oh, they're just talking about some fucking guy who ran the cult.
Yeah.
That's way less scary than Pyramid Head. Because when they wrote it, they intended it to be Pyramid Head, obviously, because they weren't thinking about Silent Hill 4 yet.
Yeah. Again, this plays into the whole, if you explain it, it's not scary anymore.
Exactly.
And that whole, Silent Hill 4 kind of ruined the radio quiz show in Silent Hill 2 for me. You know, chopped into pieces with an axe. You know, it's like, now I know the story behind that, and it's knowing it makes it less terrifying and scary. Like, I don't know, but that's just me. Anyway.
That's not ruined for me personally, but...
it's not ruined, it's just like...
not as good.
The air of interest is kind of sapped from it now.
It's less mysterious, so you're not intrigued by it as much.
Exactly. So, yeah, but, you know, that's just
And
me.
Silent Hill 4 did a lot in the way of explaining things that no one gives a fuck about. Like that whole cutscene with Joe hanging out of the roof, out of the ceiling like fucking Batman, and just explaining in a slowed down voice like, you are the receiver of wisdom, and you are the Holy Mother, and that guy over there is the so-and-so, and my cousin's brother's uncle is the bearer of the cups, or whatever. I don't fucking know. But it's like that guy went on like a 10-minute slow motion rant about explaining the entire process of why Walter was doing all this stuff. And in the process of explaining it, I was like, I don't really care why he's doing it now.
By the way, slow motion rant, probably the worst kind of rant.
Yeah.
If you're gonna rant, speed that shit up.
Yeah, faster. Chipmunk style. So yeah, like by explaining it, it made it way less scary. It's just like, oh, he's just doing a ritual.
Yeah.
I don't know why, like, explaining that it was a ritual made it less scary why he was killing these people, but that was when the series started getting a little too explainy. And it was before the Westerners got their hands on it too, so...
For me, it was Silent Hill 3. That was like...
People blame the Westerners for ruining the series, and it's like, did you forget Silent Hill 4? There's a lot of iffy things in that game. I think you're forgetting about the iffy things in Silent Hill 4.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look back on Silent Hill 4 and just they're just like, oh, well, some of the people from, you know, the original games worked on it, so it can't be all that bad. No, it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. I still keep thinking nostalgically about it, and then when I go play it, it's like, oh wait, it's bad. Stop thinking it's good. God, what's wrong with me? It's not good. It's bad.
You know, it did the creature design was cool. I mean,
Anyway, we're going way off topic.
Anyways,
no one cares about that.
So no one gives a shit.
So yeah, they can make Silent Hills without messing with the canon.
They totally can.
If they know about restraint. Restrain yourself. Stop explaining things. Stop getting the urge to explain things. Just stop.
If they're good writers, they'll be able to do it.
Make mysteries.
Yes.
Make mysteries.
Yes.
You know what PT is full of? Huge mysteries.
Horror mysteries.
That's why we're still talking about it, and it's like a teaser.
Yeah.
It's not even a game for reals. It was free.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about this thing because of all the mysteries in it. If there was a big, like, rant at the end that explained everything, nobody would be making, 2-hour-long videos about it.
2-hour-long podcasts about it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What else we got on here?
There
is a theme that I noticed, perhaps.
Oh?
Maybe it was me? No. It wasn't me. It was somebody else. Somebody mentioned a theme of asphyxiation or suffocation, because Lisa gasps a lot.
Oh.
The bathroom murder involves drowning.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember the gasping for air in that scene, yeah.
One of the dads hung himself in the garage. And one commenter mentioned that, they found the husband listening to the radio in the garage, but one commenter mentioned that, maybe he was intending to kill himself with carbon monoxide poisoning before the cops found him or something, which is another asphyxiation thing. So maybe we could talk about the asphyxiation themes that seem somewhat apparent. Also, the fridge. When kids get locked in fridges, they asphyxiate to death. Big old fridge hanging around.
Yeah.
With a baby screaming inside of it.
I think the fridge is more of womb symbolism for me.
It could be both.
It could be, yeah, that's true. I mean, this game seems like at sometimes to be like a hodgepodge of just, hey, what's creepy? So
and you can't tell what's intentionally this or that, yeah.
And we still don't know why the fetus is like so oddly shaped.
Yeah, it looks like a chicken or something.
Yeah, it might just be a reference to...
And it's like, the development of it looks like it's someone said like 3 months old or something. I
forget. Yeah.
But the size of it is like huge.
Yeah, there's no way like the size of that baby correlates.
Like the size of it is 9 months or 8 months, but the development of it is way, way before that.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I have no idea what to make of that besides, hey, it's scary and we need to make it bigger because it's too tiny.
Yeah, if it was tiny, it wouldn't be able to do the cool talking scene and stuff, or you wouldn't be able to notice it as much.
Yeah, you'd just be like, who's saying that? Oh, this thing that's the size of a quarter?
Yeah. Not to mention the timing for when Lisa is killed might... I mean, we don't really know when she got pregnant, but...
Or how far along she was.
Yeah, it seems to be implied by the fetus, or Jay possessing the fetus, that 10 months back is, And that's another thing we didn't mention. In Japan, 10 months is the gestation period for a pregnancy. It takes 10 months. And
that's not because Japanese people have weird biology or anything. It's because they count it weird.
Yeah.
So don't nobody comment like, hey, what? That's racist somehow. Japanese people have the same wombs as everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's literally just like a way.
They count the last period you had.
Yeah.
Which adds a month. Usually.
And I was reading about this back when we first started talking about it.
I don't know if, it's referred to in the medical community as 10 months, though. It might just be anecdotal, lay people might call it 10 months. I feel like doctors wouldn't call it 10 months.
I don't know, I was reading...
More research is requested.
Yeah, more research is required for that one. But we do know that that is a difference. That is an interesting thing to take into account. And the fact that Jay specifically calls out 10 months could be a reference to the 10 steps you have to take, or it may be a reference to the fact that she was, Lisa was very, very pregnant. And certainly Lisa's physical appearance seems to suggest that she was pretty far along. So
yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
I don't know, asphyxiation, suffocation. You can see his... heartbeat through his lungs,
yep.
Sort of, the fetus.
Yep, it's a cool little effect.
That's another, lung-looking thing.
Maybe this relates back to the lady getting drowned. There is water in the tub at certain points in the game, but then at other points it's empty. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that has anything to do with maybe, God, I really don't know on that one.
No.
I have no idea.
It's weird.
It might just be there, water in the tub, so that when the water drips into it at the end, you actually hear the water going into water, that what sound.
That's a good impression of it.
What? Well, here, you want me to actually try it? Hold on, let me wet my lips.
With your cheek or whatever?
Ready?
Yes.
No.
It's so silent. There it is.
There you go.
It's perfect.
I did it.
The ambiance is complete in this podcast.
Fucking goddamn it. This game is making us crazy.
Alright, we already talked about the eyes.
Yep.
But we also forgot to mention that, all the eyes in that one loop where you're going really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Those are eyes, too.
Yep, those are totally eyes.
Forgot about those eyes.
Even the one that is... but those are more overtly trying to say that, hey, look at the peephole.
Look in the peephole, yeah.
Because you really don't know what to look for. You're just going to be running down that hallway for forever if you didn't have any kind of hint. And that's despite what some people said at the beginning when PT first came out, and it was just everyone was like, what the fuck? This is so hard. This is so frustrating. No matter what you say, no matter how long it took you to figure it out, they did hint at several points in the game to what the answers for each loop were. It didn't come out of left field. And that's one of the things for that loop. They hinted it heavily with the eyeball. You should be looking for something. And even one that looks like it's not an eyeball. It kind of looks like someone's mouth. That is actually the side of the eye where the bottom eyelid meets the top eyelid. So, anyways,
we were talking about it briefly, but there's also a theme of birth and wombs.
Definitely.
We got the fetus in the sink. We got the baby in the fridge. We got Lisa, obviously. And we also have, Norman waking up and respawning in a, womb-like concrete room as a respawn point.
Definitely. And you can even say the hallway is maybe a reference to a dead fetus, because you have the womb in the concrete room, and then you have the hallway that never goes anywhere because you can never get out. You're never allowed out. Or something. That's just a dumb thing I came up with off the top of my head. But... Definitely the refrigerator. Definitely. Because Lisa was shot in the stomach.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. And that refrigerator being held up by rope has, at one point, a bunch of blood leaking out of it. And if Lisa was shot, that's probably what would it have looked like, you know. You've got the refrigerator, which is used to keep things fresh, keep things from going bad. That could symbolize the womb. And then you have the bullet that goes into it, and then the blood sort of pouring out of it. And then that sort of safe space has been penetrated. And that's what's causing the fetus to sort of freak out. And when you come into the second loop with the refrigerator hanging from the ceiling, you have the refrigerator swinging about and doing all this crazy stuff while the baby in the background is freaking the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Another thing that occurred to me a little while ago was going into the bathroom. That could be symbolism for a womb as well.
Especially because you get trapped in it. The door closes.
And the fetus is in there. Mm-hmm. And the door closes. You've also got the little hole you can peep out from,
like a belly button.
Right? Yeah. There's a lot of it. Yeah.
If you want to look for it, there's a lot. There's a good amount of woomy things.
Yeah, and then the rope could be an umbilical cord where someone hanging themselves traditionally with a rope.
And even like the aforementioned spiraling hallway, that could be seen as umbilical in nature because umbilical cords kind of scrunch up and are spirally like that.
Mm. Yeah, that's all I got.
If you want to read that symbolically, go ahead.
Yeah, by all means.
Let's have fun.
It's fun.
What's in the bag? It's a dick.
No. Totally a dick.
Does it connect to, forgive me, Lisa, there's a monster inside of me? Since Lisa removed something from inside Norman that now exists in the bag, could it literally be your own dick talking to you? And your own dick is the monster inside of you.
If that's a commentary about masculinity,
that'd be great if it was.
I could see that being something.
I would love that.
But other than that, I mean, what's in the bag? I honestly think it's not about what is specifically in the bag. I think it's about what the bag represents, as I mentioned before.
Well, we basically already covered it.
Yeah, but the only thing that I would say is that the person talking to you inside the bag, the helpful bag itself, it seems like, in the video we covered this, but it seems like that person's been in the loop before. They're talking to you. It's a separate entity. So maybe, it could be your own, like another version of yourself that was ripped out and put into the bag. And maybe that's a commentary on the virality of this thing, that there are a lot of people playing it, and that maybe that's a representation of another player who's played it.
There's more yous out there because everyone's playing Norman Reedus right now.
Yep. And that might be a commentary on the cockroaches as well. You've got a whole bunch of living creatures infesting this hallway, and
Any links to be made between PT and its proof of concept video that came out? Not a ton.
No, we already talked about that.
It's got doors. It's a hallway, but it's a school, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, it's not somebody's house. I don't know. It looks similar, but it's not. Doesn't have much in common with it.
The only thing that I can think of besides what we've already talked about is the toys line, because there are actually toys in.
It's true.
The concept video, but that's it.
That's it, really. Yeah, they're not very related.
Nope.
Is there a singular entity haunting / driving fathers to kill their families, like a single ghost or demon doing it? I personally don't like the idea of Silent Hill being a singular, intelligent entity in general, and I also think there's no way for us to really honestly know, though. I personally like the idea that it's just a force. Like I mentioned earlier, moths to flame. The flame doesn't mean to kill moths. That's just the nature of it. People are drawn to it.
It's a natural event. There's
no intelligence behind the flame.
Right.
And I like to think of it as that because it's scarier to me that it's not thinking.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that.
It's unpredictable to be a force of nature like that. But in the context of PT, it just depends on what you like, really. I mean, there's no way to really tell either way. Nope. If there's honestly an intelligence behind it or not, or if there's just a force using someone else's memories or
a person using a force to their advantage.
Yeah, there's no real evidence pro or con that.
Nope.
No, I don't know.
Sorry.
So somebody asked, does the hallway become increasingly filthy as time goes on? Because someone suggested it, but I don't recall it being a noticeable pattern. I thought it like varied back and forth between states of cleanliness.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've played the game many, many times. I might be stuck in the last loop and thinking of it like that, but I don't think it gets cleaner or filthier. I think it just stays the same level of filthy.
Don't the beer cans disappear though?
Not that I remember, no.
Oh. Beats me.
There were a few toward the door that might have to have disappeared because you couldn't open the door with them there. But no, from all the loops that I played and all the footage that I've got from playing the game, I don't remember it getting filthier at all. I'll go back and check.
I think it would have gotten way noticeable by the time you got to loop 51, too. It would have been like a fucking sty.
Yeah, totally. But that's in the last loop, so.
If it did get increasingly filthy, it would have to exponentially get filthier.
Yeah, and I guess in the red hallway there is less filth because you don't have the same features that the regular hallway has. So, like, I mean, if you could say that that's getting cleaner, I mean, yeah, I guess. But, like, it still has the cigarettes on the ground. It still has the occasional beer can. It's just the model that they looped, you know? They didn't include all of the features from the main one. So, yeah, anyway.
Speaking of that, though, a couple people I think asked, how come we haven't talked about the pills, the blister packs of pills laying around?
Mainly because we just don't know what they are.
Yeah, like some people have commented that they look a little bit like birth control pills.
Which would be a cool theme.
But I don't know. It didn't look like there were 30 of them in a pack, though.
No.
They looked bigger than that.
And someone mentioned that there's a difference between the way the Japanese pills look and how they're in like blister packs versus how American pills are received and are packaged.
Yeah, we really don't know what kind of pills those are. They're very generic looking pills, so we don't really know what to comment on about the pills, being that we don't know what they are. If they are birth control pills, that is very loaded.
Yep.
But I feel like they would have made it a little more obvious that they were birth control pills because all you had to do was like look up how do American birth control pills or something.
Yeah,
those are they come in different noticeable looking packages, like whatever I forget the name of them, but there's one that comes in like a circular disc blister pack that's really iconic.
Yeah, definitely. That would have been like, whoa.
That might have been too much information to place what year this hallway takes place in.
That's true. The only other thing that I would say is a lot of people were asserting that they're drugs and that Lisa's husband was taking drugs and those were the drugs that he was consuming. I don't know about that one.
I don't think those people have ever used drugs.
Yeah, I seriously, those are packaged. Those, like, maybe it was like Valium. Was Valium big in like the 90s? Like, I don't know. Anyways.
I honestly don't know.
The one thing that makes sense for what they are is possibly prenatal vitamins.
Maybe. Or like morning sickness pill things.
That's true. Yep. Something to help Lisa with her pregnancy because she may be having some troubles with it.
It'd be interesting if it was thalidomide pills. Because that would explain why the fetus is all fucked up looking.
What are thalidomide pills?
Thalidomide pills were, I think, in the 80s, or maybe, I don't know, it might have been earlier than the 80s, actually. Now I think about it, it might have been like the 50s.
So like the force of miscarriage?
No, it was to cure morning sickness and stuff like that. So everybody was taking these thalidomide pills, and they actually caused really bad birth defects where their arms and legs were malformed.
Oh.
So they had like little twiggy arms.
Oh wow, that would be. Oh man, if that's what that is, I gotta look that up and see what they actually looked like and how they. I'm
looking up right now, so I didn't get everything wrong. In the late 50s and early 1960s, more than 10,000 children in 46 countries were born with deformities such as phocomelia as a consequence of thalidomide use. It is not known exactly how many worldwide victims of the drug there have been, although estimates range from 10,000 to 20,000. Despite the side effects, thalidomide was sold in pharmacies in Canada until 1962. Canada was the last country to end the sales of the drug.
Looking at some of the packs that contain them, they actually do look a little bit similar.
Like kids are born with tons of toes they shouldn't have and really messed up arms, and so it was usually prescribed as to alleviate morning sickness or as a sedative. Yeah, but who knows how they were packaged though? if they were in blister packs or not.
That's true.
Who knows?
Well, that's certainly maybe.
But yeah, that was something I just realized. Maybe that's a thing.
Cool. And that would explain the fetus being all messed up.
Perhaps. I'm not sure how it would look in utero during thalidomide
I have no idea.
usage. But it's also like, if it got... That would mess up the timeline, though, if it was thalidomide. Because it took place in the 80s or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. All these murders. So why would she have thalidomide pills anyway? It doesn't really make sense timeline-wise, if the timeline is accurate. So yeah, we don't know what's up with the pills.
Nope.
We honestly have no idea.
Next. There's no mention or hauntings or photos of the other dead kids in PT. That's something I want to bring up. So I always thought, from kind of the beginning, personally, it's a personal theory of mine, that the hallway in PT is an amalgamation of all the murderers' houses. Because I feel like it doesn't make sense. Someone mentioned, where is the kitchen? If it's so important, if this person got killed in the kitchen, where's the kitchen? How come we don't see the kitchen? How come it's not attached to anything? We just go in this hallway and there's only a bathroom and a foyer and a second level that you can't get to. And at the front door, there's only 2 coats. There's no children's coats. There's no shoes for kids. There's no pictures of kids in the hallway, even though they had apparently, 2 kids and 1 more on the way. There was no kids at all in any of the pictures. There was a little bunny rabbit, if I remember correctly, at the bottom of the what was it? The
teddy bear or something.
Yeah, it was like a teddy bear, a stuffed animal. And it was pink, if memory serves.
Yeah, it's like the only element that was like, oh, there's kids in the house. There's a single stuffed animal.
Yep.
And I also always thought that the bathroom didn't look like it belonged in that house because the hallway is very lovingly decorated, I feel. Like there's lots of pictures on all the walls and, there's plants everywhere and stuff like that. And then you get into the bathroom and it's very utilitarian. There's just a sink, a toilet, a bathtub. And there's toilet paper just underneath the sink in plain view. I feel like it's not really the same house because I feel like the bathroom would have been decorated more to match the hallway. There might have been a picture in there of some fucking trees. Again, more trees.
Yeah.
Or a cabinet under the sink. Because there's no reason for there not to be a sink cabinet unit. And I feel like it would match the decor of the outside hallway more. So I kind of thought it was really strange that these decors don't exactly match. And also, there's no logical... If you were to walk into a house like this, you'd just be facing a wall. And then you could go left into what I presume is a garage. I like to assume that would be where the garage would be. Those downward steps to a garage, maybe.
Right.
And then, you could just go right down the hallway to either the bathroom or keep going down the hallway to another mystery room. It's such a weird layout for a house. How do you get up to that foyer? Why isn't there stairs here? Why isn't this why can't you get to the second floor balcony from here? And it's A, because it's a game, but B, what if there's an explanation? What if this is a mishmash of all these murderers' houses, and that's why the layout doesn't make any sense, because it's representing every murder that happened?
Yeah, that would be interesting. It seems to place emphasis on the Lisa and her husband, though. Though there are pictures of other people in there, like an older couple on a rocker on the front porch of their house.
Really? I didn't see that one.
Yeah, there was another picture in there. I'll find it, and you can put it in the video, or I'll put it in the video. Whatever. It'll be in the video. Hey, here it is. Whoa!
Wow, look at that. It's really interesting. I can't see it. But yeah, it's weird for them to have 2 kids. What was it, 10 and 6 or something like that?
Yep.
And they don't have any pictures of the kids.
Nope.
That's weird.
It is. Yeah.
It's super weird. They don't have any projects from school hanging up anywhere. Any arts and crafts projects, nothing like that.
Nope.
I don't know. I think that's very peculiar, and I like to think that maybe it's a amalgamation of all these places.
That's certainly a theory that I could get behind.
There's also nothing in the bathroom that would indicate they had kids. There's no except
the fetus.
Yeah, except the fetus. There's no shampoos or soaps or anything, any bath toys or...
Nope.
Not very, very stark bathroom. It's almost I don't know.
I blame that on the game, though. It being a game.
I don't know, but there's so many other details, though.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of hard to shoo that away as not important when there's all these other details that are pretty important, that are really cool and really subtle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know what to think about it.
That's one of those I don't know questions, guys.
It's cool. It's cool to think about. Yeah.
That's what we should name it.
It's cool to think about.
This is like an after-school special. It's cool to think about.
Let's see. There's apparently a bunch of quick answers here that I put.
Cool.
From specific people. Someone named I Tread Softly asked, how do you get the window breaking thing to happen? And they've played PT several times and never had the window break. Is there something to trigger it?
No. You just walk. Well, there is something to trigger it, but it's something that you have to go through. Like I'm surprised that I Tread Softly has not gotten it, because in order to, it happens at a certain loop. And that's when the window crashes down, you can turn around and look up, and then you see Lisa on the balcony. And then you infer from that she's the person who threw it, or at least caused it to happen. Mm-hmm. And even more interesting, you can look toward the front of the door, and if you look up, there are a series of windows there. And when the window comes crashing down, that window is gone. So it's a fun little note. It's also reappears after you go back through that loop. But yeah, in order to get that to happen, you literally just walk forward in that loop. And that's the thing that happens in that specific loop. She throws down the window. It crashes, makes a huge noise. You look up and then see her there. Every single time I played.
Maybe he heard the noise and didn't associate it with or didn't look down to see the broken window.
Yeah.
And didn't look up to see... Maybe he hung out at the beginning part of the hallway before it happened or something.
No, it's a timed thing. No, it's not a timed thing. I mean, when you walk up to it, that's what triggers it.
Don't know how he missed it.
Yeah, sorry, I Tread Softly. Go play it again and walk through that part and look toward the left, because that's where it comes down.
The next person just kind of had a cool observation that I thought was worth mentioning. Philippe Pozo suggested... that image of the supposed tunnel framed on the wall is actually a musical symbol, which indicates that time is stopped and not passing. In my opinion, that would make more sense than an upside-down negative of a tunnel. But the thing is, it's not really the right shape to be a fermata, which is the symbol you're talking about, a fermata. But that is a really cool idea. I like the idea, but it's not really the right shape.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's kind of reaching, but if it were the case, that would be really cool. I could see that, but what he's saying is that picture is not a tunnel, and it is actually a musical symbol. No, it's a tunnel. It's seriously, you can look at it. You could see the shadow cast by the area underneath the tunnel. You can see a figure standing on the other side of it. You could see the brick on the sides of the tunnel. It's clearly a tunnel that has been faded.
It also looks like the tunnel in Silent Hill 2, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's the same basic shape. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's a cool idea, though. I like the idea a lot.
I really like the idea. I never heard of that before, so thanks for bringing that to our attention. That's a fermata. That's cool.
Fermata. 3 Moctezuma boys asked,
nice.
Is there a solution to the game without a mic?
Yes.
What is it?
Random. So I've played PT many times, as I already stated. But during some of those times, in order to test certain things, I disconnected the microphone. And one time, I shit you not, I was playing the game. I had the mic disconnected because I was testing out certain things about that hallway, and I didn't want any noise to trigger that. And I do not have a PlayStation camera. I do not have a microphone anywhere hooked up to that thing. It was not taking in any inputs. But I did, after walking into the loop, I did not walk 10 steps. I did not do that first part. I got the second baby laugh. I was just standing around. It seems, from what I understand, that there is an alternate solution that is coded into the game that it is just random. It is just random how long...
Or we just don't know it yet.
Or we don't know it. That's true. But I've seen a lot of other people get false positives on this. I've seen a lot of playthroughs where they do one thing and then they're like, oh, it doesn't happen yet. You have to wait a little while. Like the whole idea where you walk up to the radio and then you sort of stare intently at it for a while and then you'll get the baby laugh. That may be a false positive for walking in and then it randomly happens. So either that or we just don't know. Maybe that theory does hold some weight. All I know is that I was doing nothing. I was literally testing standing in place and waiting around to see if that would trigger anything. And it did for one time.
Not the other times.
Nope, none of the other times.
Dang. So yeah, we don't know if there is a solution or what it is without the mic.
And I didn't have any of the flashlight colors. Like, it was just a regular flashlight.
Oh, boy.
So, yep.
So, next guy. Mega Vega Vicken, which is a great name to say.
Cool.
They asked, do any of you at the Great Debate think there is anything significant about the fact that the radio transmission is in Swedish? Or is that just some marketing stunt? Could the protagonist or the family or someone else be from Sweden? It's just for the heck of it, I think.
Yeah, I think that too. I saw someone mention that it was, they were saying like, oh, they made it Swedish because PewDiePie could be able to...
Why do you pronounce his name like that?
That's not how you pronounce his name.
It's PewDiePie, like cutie pie.
PewDiePie.
Pew.
Poo.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Someone was saying maybe it was put in there because it would scare PewDiePie specifically, and I don't think Kojima gives a fuck about PewDiePie.
No, I don't think that. What I do think is that it was put in there for the same reason that all of the other... There are a whole bunch of other messages in the game that are in other languages.
Yeah.
So
they're just not in a spoken language.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was one of the ones that they wanted to be... They wanted you to have someone from a different country come in there, and they wanted it to be something other than English. And they wanted to have other people come in and help out with the puzzles. They wanted people from all over the world to come in, and that was a fairly big revelation when it was translated. But why did they include German on there
or
and
Spanish
not
or Italian? Or
I seriously think that they just rolled the die. Or maybe they knew someone who spoke Swedish. Mm-hmm. Maybe one of the voice actors they brought in was like, oh, I know Swedish too. And they're like, oh, great.
Well, whatever.
There is no reason that I can think of for it to be Swedish.
I don't think it's for any real reason.
Nah.
Just to make it more difficult, basically. You had to...
Basically, yeah.
It was supposed to be a community effort.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're moving on to definitely not quick answers.
Uh-oh. Which is weird because we're like, how long are we into this?
Like 1 billion?
Like 3 years?
Like
3 years.
Like 2 hours, almost.
Okay.
Articulate T asked if the family lived in Silent Hill prior to the murders and the town's potential abandonment due to the curse or whatever, then it would be in Maine, which abolished the death penalty in 1887. So if the father was alive during his arrest, he's probably still alive until... a potential imprisoned suicide if he did kill himself during that time.
No evidence to suggest where the PT hallway takes place other than America.
Yep.
Because the podcast, the radio broadcast at the beginning, that was not a podcast at the beginning of PT. That radio broadcast specifically says a state.
Yeah, and also everybody has American-ish accents, except for Canadian fetus.
Right.
It might be like northern, state fetus. Wisconsin fetus or something. Do they say sorry?
Sorry.
Drown your sorrows in booze. We're not sure if it actually takes place in Silent Hill because, as mentioned previously, in a lot of the games, Silent Hill's influence has expanded beyond the actual borders of Silent Hill.
Yep.
So it's a force that's stronger than actual physical boundaries.
A case could also be made that the hallway that's happening in PT isn't real, and it's like in some sort of a like friggin' hell land place.
Well, not just the hallway. I mean, where the real life murders took place.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
It doesn't really matter where the hallway itself is, but where the murders took place.
Yeah, where the murders took place, we simply don't know. Mm-hmm. That is a cool observation, though, that Maine abolished the death penalty in 1887.
That is a really good observation. Yeah. Kudos for noticing that.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. God, they abolished the death penalty so early.
Yeah, seriously.
God, 1887. Good for them. Yeah. So, 2 people had about the same comment here, Femme Collective and Captain Ellison. They raised the point that the reporter reporting the news on the radio is not a regular person because there's the one line that you should do a double take at. There's no way that anybody alive would have the knowledge about the dad luring his daughter out of the bathroom by telling her it was a game. So there's no way for the police to know that he did that.
There is one person alive who would know that, though.
The dad.
The dad. Because it is, in the video, we say that we found evidence at the end of the broadcast at the beginning of PT, that it says that his father is listening to the radio. And you don't say that generally about a corpse. Mm-hmm. So it can be inferred from there that it's possible because Lisa's husband is regretful at a certain point, actually in the loop immediately after you gouge out the picture of Lisa's eye, you go into the next loop and then you see the note from potentially Lisa's husband saying that he's regretful for what he did. You know, there was a monster inside me, that note. So from there, we know that he's regretful. And because of that, he may have told the police what happened. Maybe because he was hoping that they could explain how maybe he got possessed during that time. There's really no way to know exactly what happened, but he was regretful. He is possibly alive, likely to be alive. And that's where the radio could have gotten that information.
There's also the fact that a lot of scary stories have narrators that shouldn't know as much as they do,
yes.
Which adds to the unnervingness, the creep factor of the story. It's like, how could you know that? Whoa. And we're also in a separate reality anyway. We don't know if the radio is regurgitating a literal word-for-word broadcast from the police, or if it's just the radio not fucking with us, but not telling the truth from reality, not a real news report.
Right.
Making its own news report about what happened, and it would have knowledge of those events.
And I would say that in a real radio report, it is highly doubtful that the radio broadcaster will go into such detail as that radio broadcaster did. But we also have to remember that this is a horror game, and that is the first thing that you hear. So it kind of needs to set up what's going to, what kind of thing you're in for.
Dragonhawk297 asked, what are the top 5 things you want to see in Silent Hills? I don't want to do 5. That's a lot.
I'll just do 1. Silent Hills. I want to see Silent Hills.
I want to see Kojima.
Oh, you want to see Kojima in Silent Hills like Kojima was in Ground Zeroes?
I want him to be like the Pyramid Head.
Nice.
I want him to be stalking us around.
That's great.
I want to see, I know what I don't want to see. I don't want to see the cult.
Oh, yeah. Do not want to see the cult. Oh, I want to see dog ending come back.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to see a joke ending. That would make me very happy to see joke endings. Dog endings especially. UFO endings especially.
I would love to see what they would do if they are planning on doing anything with Project Morpheus. I would love to see a Silent Hills game, especially a first-person horror game, handled on a PlayStation 4 with Project Morpheus. That would be rad.
I would also love to see some sort of mode that is for babies.
Baby mode.
Because I'm actually a baby in real life. It's a secret. Nobody knows except those closest to me. I'm a baby. I can't play PT.
This game was really scary for you then.
I can't play PT. I watched my boyfriend play it, and I had nightmares from watching him play it, so I don't think I would be able to actually play Silent Hills if it was as scary as PT. I think PT is good as a one-time short experience. I don't want to play a whole game that's like that. I wouldn't play it, basically. I would be too scared to play it. I want it to be creepy, not scary. Because that's what I like about Silent Hills, that's creepier than it is boo, fuck you, I just made you shit yourself.
Yeah, there are 2 types of horror. You've got the more overt sort of jump scary type horror, and then you've got the more subtle a horror where
creeping horror,
where it sort of creeps in and doesn't really let go, like psychological horror.
Yeah, I want it to be a lot more psychological than it is primal jump scare fear. Yeah. Or to have a baby mode where you can choose to not have jump scares in it. I just really hate jump scares a lot. I just don't want them in my games.
Which is cool because you can actually play PT without getting any jump scares. So
if you know how, but I certainly don't.
I'm just saying that you could do it.
There's no mode for it to make sure it doesn't happen to you. That's what I mean. I want a mode that makes sure they don't happen.
And what I'm saying is they already have that, but they could easily just sub out the jump, the part where Lisa jumps you and make it so that can't happen when you turn around.
Yeah, so it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would be the baby mode. You take that out. And I'm saying that it's a possibility. They could do that if they wanted to.
Yeah, I just want that.
Yeah. So
where the triggers don't trigger.
Yeah.
I just want creepy things. I would love to just play that game and not worry. I'd like to see Lisa from far away. I don't want her to come at my face. That's basically all I want. I don't want things in my face scaring the shit out of me. That's what I want in Silent Hill, things away from my face.
Yeah, man. I can't tell you how many times I've played the game, but even when I load it up, I could load it up right now, and it's not a good time.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun to play. I want it to be fun.
It fills you with dread.
There's still jump scares in the rest of the Silent Hill series, but they're pretty few and far between. I can tolerate very few and far between. That's fine.
Right.
But the constant threat of it is whoa, way too much for me. It's way too real. I can't handle it. So that's what I want in Silent Hills. I want a baby mode that makes sure that things don't pop in my face. So I will cry.
A lot of people would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
We got theory stuff from people.
Cool.
A couple of people suggested, what if Norman can only escape Silent Hill by going through the backstories of every monster within it, the monsters being someone else's monsters, and that ties in with this identity thief theory that people have made up and doesn't really have a basis in anything, besides the line, are you sure that only you is you?
Right.
Which I think it's also too on the nose to be the likely plot of Silent Hills.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's called Silent Hills is because you explore multiple people's nightmares through Norman, who stole their identities, and that's the payback, the ironic punishment for his crime. You stole these people's identities? Well, what if you stole their issues, too? I feel like that's a little too simplistic.
Yeah, I would agree.
A little too after-school special or something. I don't know. Don't be an identity thief. What if this?
Yeah, I think people, someone came up with a cool idea and found some interesting hooks for it in PT. So, yeah, I mean, that might be cool.
I like the idea, but I feel like it's too simplistic.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Especially, it's one of those ideas where once you hear it, you can sort of see the plot in your head. And,
Anyway, next one. Someone named Diamond Fox suggested there's a theory about the S in Silent Hills that suggests that the playable character has the ability to dive into multiple minds and try to solve the moitas. Can you discuss this in the next videos? No. Sorry. It's cute, but it's not a Silent Hill idea. It's not scary.
Yeah, that's not something that I don't think we'll talk about simply because that's pure theory. It's
pure theory. There's nothing backing that up.
Yeah, there's nothing in the game to sort of suggest that other than...
And it's also we didn't really solve a murder, did we?
No, we didn't.
In PT, we didn't really solve anything. We solved a puzzle.
If anything, we got a murder told to us. That's it.
Yeah, the story was told to us. And there was a multi-step program to acknowledge that we got the message. Mm-hmm. But we didn't solve a murder in PT, so I think there's no basis for this theory at all. And I also think... the
murder solved itself at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, nobody was questioning who did this, really. I mean, the dads did. They know that. They're the only people left.
I was just going to say maybe they revealed who killed them toward the end of the radio, but no, we regret to report the murder of the wife and her children by her husband and father.
Yeah.
By their husband and father. There was a mystery for about 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's not a mystery. I mean, it's a mystery why it's happening.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're solving a murder.
Nope.
So it doesn't really make sense.
Nope.
I mean, it's a good idea for a different franchise.
Yeah. I would agree.
For Murdered Soul Suspect. I think that's a plot of Murdered Soul Suspect, give or take.
Pretty sure. That game wasn't reviewed very well, was it?
No.
All right.
It looks okay, but a lot of collectibles. But yeah, that's that one. Grayson Gerlich commented, he'd like to point out that umbilical cord, as referring to the dude who kills himself in the garage, is not necessarily the type of umbilical cord that is attached to a baby. The term umbilical cord can also refer to a cord or tube carrying important or life-sustaining things to a person in other senses. For example, there's air tubes that divers have. They're connected to ships, called umbilical cords. Okay, good point, but who would keep an umbilical cord in their garage?
Yeah, I don't...
I don't think that's a thing.
No.
Next! I don't just have those in my garage. I don't know about you.
No, I don't.
This is the last thing. We're at the end.
We're at the end.
Oh my god.
Hooray. It's almost over.
Yay. Oh, this is the person that was talking about asphyxiation. It was SpecKev800 that was suggesting that the dad died from suffocating himself with carbon dioxide in the thing, but...
Oh, okay. So... I guess we're done.
We're done. Goodbye. Good night. I'm tired. That was a lot of Silent Hill.
That was a lot of Silent Hill.
So we're gonna rake in a lot of money for making a 3-hour video.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh, boy.
I can't wait to Scrooge McDuck that pile of quarters.
All $3.
Oh, yeah, it's not that much money, you guys. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions, guys. That was really nice.
I hope we got as many as we could.
Yeah.
I hope we didn't miss anybody that was saying something really cool and we missed it. I'm sorry if we did.
Totally sorry. Leave a comment on this video and tell us all about that theory because, these theories are cool. I like a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of stuff that you guys are bringing up that it never even occurred to me. And I played this game like fucking 100 times. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, I love talking about this stuff. So, yeah. Let's keep talking about it.
Yeah. Everybody keep on having great debates.
Oh! I'd yell, but...
Name drop!
Alright, guys.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more content from The Great Debate coming when it's done.
The next one's gonna be worth the wait. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!